T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
Tapped into the there we go. I did this again. This is the second time I did this on a remote podcast. Hi, how are you?
Good.
But you are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. I'm your boy MJ. We are live and direct from Johnson City, Reptilandia. Did I say it right?
You said it right. Yeah.
Close enough?
Yeah, right.
Guys, right here next to me, we have Ari Ryu of Reptilandia.
Reptilandia,
Right here,
yeah.
the duo right now that's making so much groundwork on where we stand. It's amazing, man. I cannot
you.
believe how fun it's been the last 2 days being here, which we're going to tap into a lot of that.
Yeah.
But before we do, guys, this remote episode is brought to you by Justin KINOVA. What? Well, yeah, motherfuckers. What do you think? This guy is obsessed with Boelens. If you go to Justin's facility, first thing you see to the left are two beautiful displayed Boelens. So that being said, Justin's, fairly new into the Boelens game. The guy is wanting to learn, and he wanted to jump all over this, man. This guy is a huge fan of your work, and thank you, Justin. This is awesome, man. I appreciate you. You guys, please go follow KINOVA. If you don't know who Justin Kabelka is, he's into ball pythons. He's a pretty big deal. But anyways, I appreciate you so much, Justin. But guys, here we are, live and direct. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
How's everything been, Ari? Because based off what I've witnessed, it's been fucking a lot of work.
Oh, it's been crazy. But first off, thanks for coming out, man. It's awesome to have you finally. We've been talking about this for a long time, and it's finally come to fruition, which is
so stoked.
perfect. The perfect timing.
Yep.
So it's all coming together. But no, everything's been incredible. We're heading towards the end of construction. We're hoping to be open next few months to the public, and it's just it's been a wild ride. This has been amazing.
Now, you were already based in Texas before this whole move and everything. So, I kind of tell the people out there as far as what were you working with before you did the move here? What species of animals that you're passionate about?
So I was at Fort Worth Zoo for 11 years.
Okay.
So I was a keeper out there. And prior to that, obviously, I had extensive amount of experience working with different species and whatnot. But my real passion obviously is Boelens pythons. So that's I work at an institution. I'm always doing research on these snakes.
Wait, before it was cool though.
before it was a fashion statement.
Because Boelen's always been cool, but think about it. Everyone's dream snake now is Boelens. Like people who like got their second ball python already saying that their dream snakes are Boelens.
Well, it's a dreamy snake.
It is
a dreamy
it's
snake.
It's super dreamy. But anyways, continue.
No. So I've just been actively researching these snakes since the late 90s.
Wow.
I've been traveling over to West Papua for the last 15 years. Multiple times a year, working with the locals and the natives and stuff. And I mean, the only thing that sucks is the last 2 years I haven't been able to get there because of this, this damn COVID situation. So,
right.
But I'm still in contact with all my guys in the field, and I've got people doing work out in the field for me while I'm not there right now. So
that's epic. So, I mean, okay, as far as the transition goes from being at Fort Worth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep. Fort Worth.
And, taking that job switch to here, like what's that transition been like? Cause now I feel like you're on an ownership role now. Like this is all you.
So my close friend Quetzal Dwyer, who owns Reptilandia in Costa Rica.
Respect.
Shout
out to Quetzal Dwyer.
Yeah.
You're the man.
The OG.
That's a serious OG right there.
He's an incredible friend, incredible mentor, and an incredible partner. And basically he approached me when I was over there. He said, "Hey, I've got this, I want to do this project up here in Texas.
Right.
And I want you to work it with me." And I said, "Dude, I'm ready. Let's go." So I went out and brought Ryu out, and we hit up this spot out here, and we've been here for just about 2 years now. And we work 7 days a week building this incredible facility for us to showcase to everybody.
Dude, so this is crazy. This is such a great example of what I preach about on this damn channel all the time, because I feel like if you're really meant to be in this industry that we are, things land in your lap. It's not every day you find the girl your dreams to be your right hand, like right hand girl. I guess you could say. I don't want to call you man, even though you do manly stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, raw girl power right there. You feel me?
It's very raw.
But not only that, but then the relationship with Quetzal, like,
Yeah.
Hardly anyone knows who Quetzal really is as far as like the new wave of people, right?
Yeah.
But once you fucking learn who he is, it's a big deal. But how did you meet Quetzal?
So we just met up at like a lot of conferences and stuff, and we just became like, through word of mouth, like we met each other, and
he
then
knew about you knew about him. Type
exactly. And we just kind of like, "Hey man, how's it going?" One of those things. And then we'd run into each other all over the world. Like I remember I was in Jakarta and I ran into him at one of my friends' house, and it was just like, it's like, dude, really serious? And we've done that. Like we were in New Orleans together. I mean, he's just, become such a part of our family. Like we're family.
Yeah,
right.
he's family.
And the opportunity that he presented us with here is just, I mean, it doesn't happen.
Right.
You've got to do it. And
so what year was it when you met Quetzal?
Oh my gosh, I've known Quetzal for over 10 years at least.
Okay.
I can't even remember the first time I met Quetzal, but he's just an incredible person. The man, his knowledge is unparalleled.
So I mean, and I gotta ask you, what was the feeling when he approached you with this idea, and like, how was it over the phone? Did he come talk to you in person?
So it was, we talk all the time prior, anyways, and he approached me with this, and it was, completely flattering. Like I was blown away that he would choose me out of all these other people, and I'm just like,
I'm trying to be a Quetzal because I got people like this that I could do. I'm looking at Stephen Cush right here.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Andrew. I'm looking at Des, who could take care of all the finances, and I'll be in a good place. You know what I mean? Yeah. Right. Well, she can't get near the rodents, even though she sells all the best rodents in the United States.
There's nowhere else to get them.
Shout out to Desiree Fanning.
Yeah.
Or Manat, sorry. Yeah. Love you. You're my best friend. Anyways, but anyways, okay, so you met Quetzal 10 years ago-ish, right? And then so he talked to you about this plan. And I mean, I want to ask you, as far as how much time did you have to either think on it? Did you like instantly say, "Let's do it," or like what was kind of flowing through your head?
So he had contacted me about this and said he was looking to purchase land out in Texas because he wanted it to be in a safe place where we're at. And I mean, for what we do, this is probably going to be one of the safest places to be.
We'll touch on that later.
And for what we wanted to do, this was the prime area. So he had been coming here, for several months,
right?
Back and forth looking for areas to build this place. And it would be like, "Hey man, I'm going to be in this week," and I was like, "All right, cool, pick you up," and then it's just like talking about it, and then he's like, "I found a place to do it, and I want you to run it for me," and that was it right there. And then it was just like, "All right, I'm in, let's do it."
And then, I mean, at that point, Ryu, I mean, you guys were already in a relationship So I mean, he came to you and told you what the plan was, and
Yeah.
how would you feel about it?
Let's go. I mean, it's like I've been
Because you were in Michigan, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
so people understand you're not. It's not like you were already living with
No.
Ari. Let's kind of
Okay.
talk about like that real quick. So you kind of sacrificed
Yeah.
the things you had in Michigan, even though nothing against Michigan, but I mean,
It's cold.
look, you're coming to go
The
live.
roads
with.
Yeah.
suck.
I would leave
Yeah.
Cali for this guy right here. Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? But no, okay. So you left Michigan, in which you're already into animals.
Yeah.
You know, that was like, you know, you and Ari had met at a show, right? Or when it where
No, we met
Over online.
online. I was passionate about Boelen's pythons too, and
oh, you bought his book. That's right.
yeah,
Tell the story. Yeah.
a
Oh,
mutual of ours was like, hey, you should talk to this guy. He knows more about Boelen's pythons than me. So I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And we ended up hitting it off. Like we both like, you know, obviously reptiles, like monster movies, all that stuff.
Okay, what's your guys'? This will probably be a hot seat question, but I want to know right now. What's your guys' favorite like horror movie to watch together? Like, what's the flick?
Oh God, there's so many good flicks.
But there has to be the one. I mean, I understand how that is because I'm the same with my wife. But what's the one that's like never like it's always like a hit for you guys?
I mean, The Thing, John Carpenter's
Oh,
Thing.
wow. there you
that's
go.
the one.
I
That's
never
the
hear
one.
that one. That's good.
That's a
That's
good
the
Kurt
one.
Russell. I mean, you
You're
can't go
really
wrong.
into it.
Oh,
There you
yeah, I
go.
didn't even see it over there. So.
Okay, well that's epic. So let me ask you this: you know, the Boelens species is kind of like the connection that you had with Ari. You bought his book, right?
Yeah.
And then you had Ari. You wanted Ari to sign it, right?
Yeah.
Of course, she was doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you weren't too happy with what he. I mean, you're happy with the signature, but
Yeah.
you're kind of expecting more, maybe.
I
or-
was like, you know, I thought we were good friends. And he writes, hope you enjoy. And I'm like, what is this?
It was all stamped, and it was
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
like
it's a
the
good-
ones he
Yeah,
writes.
right.
It's a go-to. It's a
Factory
go-to.
made. Yeah.
I just signed somebody's book a few minutes ago, and I said the same damn thing. Thank you.
He was
Yeah.
he was in the zone. He was
Yeah.
just he was like Ricky Bobby when he's signing.
Yeah.
He signs on the forehead.
That's
Sorry,
what- yeah.
you know, I get
Sorry.
when I'm autographing.
Signing the baby's forehead. Yeah, so that's how I signed the book, and yeah, but I made it up after that.
Did.
Yeah, so I flew out when I went to go get her to bring her out to Texas here,
Right,
and I brought a new book, and I proposed to her in the book,
right.
and then the rest was, there it is, and here we are.
So now I want to talk about as far as like your daily routine. Now, I mean, I don't really get to talk to somebody in the making of building a zoo, and you guys been here for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
So what's like the daily routine at this point? I mean, you always have general contractors coming over.
Yeah.
I mean, it's constant and build.
Yeah,
right?
we have about on any given day about 12 to 13 workers that are here that I've got to work alongside. But I mean, I've got general contractors here. I've got electricians here, plumbers, all this stuff. So I'm handling all this stuff. So the day starts at 7,
right.
and then it typically is over. Like we're in bed by 10.
Now, with we know you mentioned COVID earlier, kind of being a damper with things of travel. But let me ask you: has that slowed things down here at all with supplies or anything
Well,
like that?
the thing, I mean,
It got expensive.
yeah,
Well,
a lot of
sure,
the
'cause
prices
workers
went.
and all that.
Yeah, the price on materials and everything just went through the roof.
Right.
And then also it affected like the attendance of a lot of the workers because they were getting sick. So we were
Right.
down staff.
Right.
Which what can you do? So in a lot of situations we had workers that wanted to work that had COVID
Right.
that asked me if they could come in when nobody else was here. And I said, hey, if you want to do that, come on in.
Damn.
Nobody will be here. I mean, that's how hardcore they were. They wanted, we have such a great team
Right.
that is here.
It's not open to the public, so it's just literally
Yeah.
just a big construction site right now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
Right.
so we'd have guys coming in at later in the evening, when everybody else left,
Right.
wanting to work.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we have been pushing through every obstacle typically that you could go through. Fortunately, everything has been we're like super blessed with what's going on.
So I do see that a lot of and by the way, you guys will see this Saturday is when I'm dropping the vlog, which is basically the tour of what's happening, basically behind the scenes. And you're going to see like the detailed structures of these trees that they're doing, which I'm like, I mean, ever since your stories of you just painting it, which the stories don't do it any justice.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think they were that big.
Well, it's so this is the real exciting part, not just to have you guys all out here to hang out and,
Right.
catch up and everything like that,
Right.
but that you're out here to see this because we haven't shown but a few pictures or videos of some of these exhibits.
Right.
And so you've got
This is
first
crazy.
access.
This is
This is
epic.
it. So it's like, it's going
Yeah.
to be like, this is a game changer.
And
This is
nobody
so sick.
realizes it until they see it.
Nobody and they're
Nobody
not even, they are
realizes.
not lying when they say that, guys, because
You're
this
not
is,
ready.
Matt, how crazy how's it been, Matt, as far as like, you know, it's overwhelming, right? I feel like that's like the norm of these damn trips so far, but it's like leveling up every single time. Because now we're at in the making of a reptile zoo, which is next level. So let's kind of go back to the daily duties right now, because as of what I was getting to right now, you're doing a lot of the structural like arts and crafts of the of the facility. And Ryu, you're doing a lot of the feeding, you're doing a lot of the maintenance as far as the animals.
So Ryu's a senior keeper because she's maintaining the collection.
We need more female senior keepers in this world. You feel me?
And so Ryu, it's like I said, we're up at 7 and we're in bed at 10. So through the course of the day, Ryu is, cleaning cages, scooping up poop, feeding animals, monitoring animals' overall health, appearance, studying behavior, taking notes for future publications that we're doing, things like that. And then I'm down in the construction site building these exhibits with these workers so we can get this place open, and then I can jump back into the animal husbandry with Ryu once we're open.
Okay, perfect. And then Ryu, like as far as the animals you work with, you have a schedule? Is it try to see everything you can in one day? Because you work with so much. So I'm just curious on how you manage your duties with all these animals.
I do every animal every day. I just go through, there's the first holding room. I do them all in order, and then I get down to the exhibits,
Right.
So it's really all about scheduling.
And a lot of times we'll work together with some of the larger animals too, just because it's easier, safer for the animals and safer for us.
Like a venomous animal that needs some teamwork or
So
I was gonna say, because a lot of stuff you work with is definitely not safe for just one person. If things came down to you having to work with it and stuff like that.
And like all our protocol, especially for our venomous, is we always have a backup person on site who knows we're working venomous. That's incredibly important.
Right.
We'll let each other know, hey, I'm about to work with the nichii, or
I'm cleaning bushmasters or something like that. So that way we're all on the same page always. We're always communicating where we're at. You have to,
right?
Especially with something this size,
right? So, okay, now as far as and this size, I do know, your stuff you're adding to what's going on because, you're not done. Obviously.
No. Yeah, we're close to 60,000 square feet right now.
Wow.
And we have a first building that has 4 holding rooms. We have a really large gift shop. We have an ethnographics museum also that we've incorporated in there too, which is super cool. And it's going to be really neat. And then we have a temperate building and we have a 2-story tropical building currently.
Nice.
So we'll be expanding obviously as we open and grow, with the hope of adding, a symposium hall so we can host events here. And then other, exciting enclosures and, activities for people. We want this to be a destination where people are coming out and really having a blast. As well as learning and interacting.
So whoever doesn't know this, shout to homie Cascade, my homie Harry in Canada in the building. Anybody who throws a super chat is going to be in a drawing at the end of the episode to can you grab me that real quick, Summers?
Yeah,
please.
Top one.
An autographed signed book of by the way, my favorite book. This is my favorite book to read. I've read it multiple times.
Oh, thank you.
Serpent in the Clouds, which I don't want to get too much into this yet, but we will. But guys, you can win this book right here, autographed by my man Ari. So that being said, throw a super chat if you have any questions for my man Ari, and then every super chat that you throw down could win this book, and then every super chat goes to US Art. That's just how we do things. It's always been like that.
Yeah, you gotta support US Art.
Gotta support US Art. But yes, going back to what we were talking about, theoretically, you can't really help with what happens with COVID, but we're kind of consistently seeing where COVID's going because new strands are coming out, and then boom, guys, not that it's not serious, but at the end of the day, I think we're learning how to deal with these viruses and to continue to.
We have to be able to. We have to be able to evolve and move on with life.
Like China, these motherfuckers they've been going through this since I remember being a kid, asking my mom why they wear masks in China in like the 90s. They've been wearing masks. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's like we're catching up to China, who's been way ahead of us for I don't know how long now.
We can't, as people, we can't let this dictate in our entire life. We have to be able to move forward positively. We have to be able to work around it. And that's interesting you say that because we've catered a lot of the design in this new facility to be able to be safe for COVID. So that way people that are more concerned about it will feel comfortable when they come in here. So we have a lot of things. There's barriers for interacting with things, as well as getting tickets. We offer online purchases and things like that too. And we have, daily cleaning or an evening cleaning rather, and stuff like that too as well. So it'll be a safe environment. I mean, obviously we can't control everything, but we have to be able to move forward.
So, I mean, you do have a launch date in mind, right? As far as when things should be up and ready. And shit, dude, we're in February, right?
We're hoping for probably end of April.
End of April.
I'm hoping. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where we'll be able to open the doors and we'll have
At least a soft opening type
Yeah,
deal.
do like a soft opening.
Like your close friends and whatnot.
Oh, we're going to do a soft open for the general public too. But
tight.
the big grand finale will be like, I mean, I would love to be able to do that for the end of for the end of April if we could.
That'd be cool.
But we need to get open so that way we can start bringing in revenue and all that, and get what we're doing out to the public, because we're doing incredible things. I mean, we're taking this. I mean, Quetzal's ideas for this place is not
big dreams.
Is big dreams,
big childhood dreams.
We're creating essentially the personal zoo every one of us wanted as a kid.
Right.
That's what we're doing.
Now, I mean, let me ask you this: what kind of support you feel like you're getting from the locals in the community?
Oh,
the
locals are super excited, which is great, especially because I was worried because we're building a facility with reptiles. It's reptiles have such like the stigma of like negativity,
especially right now,
and in Texas.
Which was never the case. Texas is always a reptile state.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So we're getting a lot of positive reaction from the people. They're just excited for it to be open.
We love you guys.
Yeah. Johnson City's awesome, and it's like the people here are just great.
Yeah, really nice people.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. The food's good too.
Yeah. All right. So one thing I kind of was excited about is because if it's anything we do is for the next generation. I feel like and it was really, I was happy to see that you have some stuff going for like the youth, like some campgrounds and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Can you kind of tell me, it's like, so anyone who has kids out there, what they have to what they have to look forward to? Because at the end of the day, like a lot of people who are working with reptiles have kids, and their kids are into it, so this would, you guys are doing something where there's an opportunity where the adult could have fun and the kid could have fun, right? So let's talk about that a little bit.
We're thinking about doing some like overnight camps and stuff like that for kids where they can spend the night, maybe do like scavenger hunts and look for nocturnal stuff and stuff like that.
Each kid will come in, they get like a headlamp.
Yeah.
And we have all of our buildings are, light controlled and everything like that. And they come through with the red lights and they can see all the nocturnal behavior. And then they get a tour with us as well. So they come through.
Maybe go herping outside.
Yeah, and we
maybe dress up as a predator.
We could do that and jump out. That'd be great.
I mean, just make sure the group's solid. Like, no sallies or anything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And so we really want it to be like we're going to focus heavy with a lot of the education here because, like you said, it's very important, especially with these young kids that are doing this stuff.
We want it to be for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I was also thinking maybe like, 1 or 2 days doing like one that's for people with sensory issues like kids and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Autism.
That's what I like to hear.
So that they can, go to the zoo and really enjoy it and not
have stressed out about
because
it is overwhelming because there's kids who can kind of control themselves and going 1 mile an hour, like a million miles per hour.
And it'll also be a lot more. It'll be a lot easier for the parents of those children too to enjoy it with them because it won't be such an overload for them to be able to interact with everything.
We want everybody to be able to experience.
Well, we've got like we're going to be doing overnight camps, be a zookeeper for a day, things like that where they're following us around and they're just getting as much information, much hands-on as they can and see what we do and try to instill a lot of passion in these younger kids with what we love.
Let me ask you this, because I remember just thinking, like, you guys understand, like, I mainly got into this just for the love of the animals, and it is all because of the love of the animals. I didn't know money came with ball pythons. It does. Crazy, it does. But it does. I didn't know that at first. But anyways, I got into these other species just not caring. Like, I specifically wanted stuff that people couldn't breed because I didn't care. Like, I was like, look, I want that snake to just keep it alive. And if it's old enough someday, then cool, we'll get it to breed. But at the end of the day, like, I just want it because how rare it is. Like, I remember you know, green tree python was something I saw in a zoo magazine.
Oh, yeah,
Never
of
in my
course,
life
yeah.
did I think I would be able to own a green tree python.
Yeah, right.
Just because, you know, from San Diego, I've seen rattlesnakes, but a tree python, you
Well,
know,
yeah,
as a
and they're
kid.
becoming such an iconic animal now.
But in the 90s, you know, as a kid, you know, you never thought that. You know what I mean?
So in the 90s, they were either untouchable or there were very few people that were working with them consistently enough that were, you know, doing what we're doing now.
So now I have a room filled with 21 female adult ball python, or my bad, chondros. Okay, so Forrest, if you're listening, buddy, told you I could keep them alive longer than 4 years. You were wrong. You were wrong. He did tell me, he's like, listen, nobody keeps their chondros alive longer than 4 years, and if you do, then okay, then I'll give you props.
Nice. Yeah. There you
God
go.
damn it. But anyways,
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is all these other species I have, you know, the breeding is not the importance. What I remember thinking when I was collecting these species, I was like, well, how can I do something where I could enjoy it besides just with myself? And I thought about working with schools, you know, educating kids. Because if it's one thing that I remember seeing, you know, okay, there's stories why I love dogs so much and why I love reptiles so much.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs I've seen abused, like pit bulls. I've seen people not take care of pit bulls well as a kid, and that made me love them for what they were. And then rattlesnakes, I used to see them without their heads. I used to see them like people kill them.
Yeah.
And I always knew, like, even though like, oh, we got to kill it. In my heart, there was something that said no, like why like that. I didn't like it. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, there's awareness that is very important. I feel like so. What's your, like, you guys want to work with schools, right? Yeah. Do you guys ever have plans of becoming a nonprofit or anything like that? Or like, what's the, I'm just curious.
We've looked into that avenue, and right now for us, it's not the best choice with what we're doing. Right. However, it's not to say down the road that we wouldn't pursue that. But just right now we're not.
Maybe at a least school.
Yeah. I mean, a lot, but a lot, we're certainly like,
but I'm like down the road established, like I'm talking about, well, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I mean, like previously I worked for a place called Zoo Pro in Virginia, and we did that stuff. We brought reptiles, owls, all of this stuff to different like schools, like a little jujitsu, you know, with all the kids on the mat and all that. And it was just super cool, and I'd love to do that again.
I feel like, you know, as much as people should, you know, for instance, US ARC, if you keep animals, you should support US ARC. Yeah. I feel like if you're somebody working with rare animals and you're in a position when you can, you should be teaching to the youth, or like, I feel like that you should take that on as a keeper,
of course,
and not just be a fucking, you know, selfish, you know, motherfucker. And I mean, dude, nothing against anyone who just likes to enjoy their animals. But at this point, with what's happening, it's not about just you anymore. It's about everything. So, dude, word is key. Like, it's, I don't know, man. You got to start talking about what we're doing. Yeah. You got to get everyone involved. I mean, I've been like tagging like my cousins and stuff, and what's happening and stuff.
You have
and
to teach them when they're young.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
That's when they're learning. You know.
Yeah,
that's how it all starts.
I would love to have an outreach program eventually as we're growing, right? So that way we can do like what Ryu's saying, where we're going to schools. And we're like taking animals and really educating them too. But for the time being, we're going to just draw them to us,
right?
Until we get to that point where we're ready.
Now, what's cool, I think, what you said earlier was the fact that like you were going to have like people with their own food trucks and like, so if it's one thing that keeps people staying is food.
Oh yeah,
of course. If you don't want people to leave,
I saw you taking down the Mexican food today. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah,
don't say that. Hey, but hey, it was not Tex-Mex.
That's true. No, it was not.
Bill, don't fucking go there with me.
Yeah, right.
Don't fuck with Tex-Mex.
Yeah, that's right.
This girl right here, she knows.
I'm a foodie. I know.
Yeah. Okay, but dude, keep it. I'm telling you, that's very smart because you're also bringing other people's business in here.
Yeah. So what we want to do is like we don't. Quetzal and I don't want to have to be bothered, you know, with dealing with food issues and things like that. We want to work on the facility. We want to work on the animals. We work on the education. Right. So what I want to do is, when we both agreed on this, is we're going to get in touch, and we have with a lot of the food truck companies locally here in Johnson City, where we're going to offer this area, and it's free of charge. You can set up your truck here. You can sell to the public when they're here. All we ask is you just feed the staff, and that's it.
Booze? Like a beer truck,
maybe?
There might
be a beer truck.
Like
there might be an event,
maybe.
You know, I'd love to do a wine thing.
Events too, like even overnight events.
Fly me in to DJ it.
Dude, always open. Always open.
I'd love to do like cultural festivals and stuff too.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Where it represents a certain culture that day. We could do food from there. We can bring out animals from that place. It'd be cool.
So I do want to pinpoint. I don't want to give too much on what's happening inside. What's being made right now, but the museum, good shit. Ryu, one thing that you mentioned in the museum is it's how it's more than just the animals, it's the culture of the animals.
Yeah.
It's where they're coming from and what
Right.
makes the animal the animal.
Exactly.
And like when did that kind of hit you? Like when did you kind of like I mean, because when you said that, I was like, holy shit, I'm 36 years old and I never thought of that.
Yeah.
So when did you kind of like, when did that cross your mind? Like when did you ever think of it like that?
Honestly, when Ari came into my life.
You son of a
because
bitch.
Just
It's about localities.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean I have always loved cultures, and I've loved looking into them even as a kid and stuff. I've loved the tribes and stuff, but I never really made that connection with reptiles and the cultures that surround them. And it's so important, and there's just so much out there. And then when I actually went out into the rainforest, the Choco rainforest in Ecuador, it was just sold, I mean,
I'm glad you brought that up because you guys don't understand what I've seen today has so much inspiration, but you can only like, based off what I saw today, I could only think whoever fucking did this was in the goddamn jungle and was able to think of this. I mean, that's kind of like, think about it. That's why it's done so well.
Yeah.
So that trip to Ecuador, did you come back influenced at all? Like, did you guys come back with like a fresh mind, like a recharge, like a fresh mindset of like, this is what we need to do.
And it's been so hard because of this COVID being able to travel, and not just for us, but for like everybody that travels, not just internationally, but, domestically too. It's so difficult. So like, this was a really important trip for us. We left, we were gone for 8 or 9 days. I can't remember. And it was just it was a recharge for us. But at the same time, we were working too, because we were with a good friend of ours that does Lachesis acrocortis research. That's the Bushmaster in Ecuador. We went out there to help her with her project. But at the same time, I'm photographing trees and in scenes and getting ideas of how to incorporate different elements into these enclosures and whatnot.
Right.
So yeah, it was much needed.
So I kind of want to talk about the not everything, but the wide range of species that you guys have going here at in Reptilandia. So let's talk about obviously Boelens. But besides Boelen, there's a kingdom enclosure going on, right? Let's kind of, dude. Honestly, I'm so floored by this freaking enclosure.
So,
but let's talk about.
So
Croc
we
Kingdom.
are, that's right. That's what it's gonna be called now. So we have one of the things that we're really happy about with the facility with Reptilandia is the fact of these size of these enclosures. I mean, you guys saw them when you walked in, and I saw everybody's jaws kind of drop because we're wanting to provide these huge, and I mean they're huge,
as big as you can go. That's what you said.
That's
like
right.
You're trying to get them as big as possible.
We want to get them as big as possible to be able to incorporate multiple species and exhibits, and provide everything we can. But one of the biggest tasks that we've been working on is our crocodile monitor enclosure. And when I describe it, it doesn't really bring in the massive size of this exhibit.
You got to be here to see it. That's all I got to say.
It measures 60 feet long by 30 feet tall. It has a full-size waterfall inside of it. It'll be incorporating turtles in there. We might even have some crocodilians in there as well. And on top of that, we're going to have the croc monitors in there.
And the Dracos,
Draco flying lizards. So it's going to be just mind-blowing. And the way we're working it is it's going to be so large enough that we'll be able to maintain these animals all together as they would naturally occur in the wild, which is going to be an incredible task.
And that's the whole game plan to see because I mean, everyone resorts to, put them in a rack, or they don't like to be exposed, but you're like, well, hold on, let me see what happens.
And a lot of times, a lot of these species are a lot more secretive and they don't like to be exposed, but there are animals that if you provide a lot of this access, a lot of space and areas for them to feel comfortable, they will flourish. And
this kind of goes to the point of like why quarantine's so important, because when you quarantine an animal in a small space and you get it acclimated eating like clockwork, then putting it in an environment a lot bigger than what it's in is going to be a lot more feasible than just dumping it in a surrounding.
Exactly.
It's like
it's difficult because quarantine, it's an important thing to be doing, but also it really a lot of times it affects the animals too, because they're, like you said, they're in a smaller environment. Right. It's stressful for them. They're not designed to be in these tiny little enclosures. Not all of them. There are species that are small and they benefit from being in smaller, contact security based environments. But I mean, the whole goal is to provide these gigantic,
Well, yeah, and we'll be doing
incredible enclosures.
enrichment too, like
because there's a lot going on, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, based off what you guys have set up now, dude, I'm telling you, I've been San Diego Zoo's one of the nicest zoos, if you know, in the United States, I feel like, and you guys are smoking that shit out of the water.
Oh, thank you.
I'm telling you right now, smoking it out of the water. I'm not a zoologist or like, you know, fucking elitist zoo person, but I'm just telling you, I pay attention to shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I am so blown away. But what I'm trying to get at, the maintenance of it, you know what I mean? So once everything's set up, once everything's to the fact where the ribbon's cut, gates are open, how many employees do you plan on having?
So we're going to try to keep this a really tight ship. And the reason being with that is we want to have a really close-knit family with what we're doing. And it'll probably be
very personal with the animals too.
Yeah, we don't need a huge staff to maintain what we're doing, because the way that Quetzal and I designed these enclosures is a lot of them are self-sufficient. They're all bioactive enclosures. So we have, you know, creepy crawlies in the ground, you know, digging around, worms, millipedes, isopods, things like that.
No tarantulas, right?
No tarantulas. Yeah, no, right. Yeah, no tarantulas.
Sorry.
Dude, if you do anything, I already know what's in that room.
Yeah,
I know you do.
I'm not scared of anything.
But I mean, the daily maintenance obviously is overall checking of the animals, making sure they're healthy, they're making sure they're doing what they need to be doing, you know, maintaining water qualities as we need. But we're going to have probably 1 or 2 more animal staff on hand to help us out.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it also helps that a lot of them are mixed species exhibits too, you know, so it's not just like one animal at a time, you know.
Let me pick your brain about the water thing, because I mean, you gotta understand, I'm new into, you know, coming new into a game. You can't help but to remember stuff and try to stick to what was told to you. And I don't know how many things that were told to me in the beginning that was not the right way. You know what I mean?
I feel
90 hotspot for every snake, all that shit. That is not the way.
I worked at reptile stores. I get it.
Yeah, so I learned a lot of mistakes, but I mean, I don't know where I was going with that. Hold on.
It started out really good.
Fuck.
It did.
Yeah.
It's very
water. Yeah, thank you, Matthews. Come here right now.
We're having an embrace. It was a bro moment. Bromance.
I make a solid point to myself. Why does somebody told me you should do weekly water changes? So 7 days to wait to change the water. And I noticed you can't determine how quick a snake's going to shit in their water as soon as you replace it. Yeah. So, and you know, I think I got a snake got sick off drinking shit water once. When I feel like if a snake's thirsty enough, it might accidentally drink it, but maybe that's all it takes for it to drink to get sick. But for a private keeper, somebody who has things in rack, what's your preference? What would your preference be for water changes? I mean, do you feel like every 7 days is adequate?
I do it more frequently,
right?
Yeah, I mean,
especially if it's not filtered. I mean, a lot of your stuff that has a flow system going.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're comparing an animal that's going to be in a controlled enclosure like a vision cage or a rack system, you're going to want to be checking your water daily. Obviously, when you're checking your animals. So if that water needs to be changed, you want to change it. I mean, you want to have fresh water. I'd say every 7 days is actually pretty long. In my opinion, because you want to have fresh water. I don't want to drink old water,
right?
You know, and you take a turd in it. You don't want to, you want to have a floater. You know, you don't want that stuff. Nobody wants a floater.
But I mean, to bridge that to the whole like feeding rodents to tree monitors and shit like that, or almost hardly any monitors, like for the most part, don't eat a lot of rodents.
No,
they're insects.
Yeah, they're highly specialized animals that feed predominantly off of insects, small lizards, small rodents, small little birds. But in captivity, compared to the wild, they have something different. They have home ranges, so they're constantly moving. They're constantly being active, and they're constantly burning those calories. When we have them in captivity, we tend to have a tendency to keep them in smaller enclosures where they have they're more prone to becoming fat.
And they look hungry all the time.
And
people love feeding.
Well, and it goes with the Boelens thing too. Like I see a lot of overweight Boelens pythons because we create a behavior by every time we open that cage, the animal establishes and associates that with food, which is a lot. It happens with a lot of things. So so with these tree monitors, we're giving lots of insects. You know, we give them rodents. A couple times a week, small prey items, things like that.
Right.
And that goes to the croc monitor exhibit too. We're planning on doing enrichment like moving heat sources around, doing feeding in different spots so they don't get complacent and lazy with where they're at.
We want
that's where obesity comes in with something that just can't move.
Well, and
I
the
think
other
that
thing
works with breeding and stuff too.
Well, the other thing too that we work on is we want the animals to work for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
If there's a basking area that they want to bask in, they need to go to it and find it.
Right.
We don't want to be creating animals that are just slugs.
Right.
We want animals to, if they're hungry, they're going to go from this side of the enclosure to the other side to get that food like they would in the wild.
Right.
So that's one of the big things that we strive on. So our animals are lean and mean. We want animals that are obviously healthy, but we don't want obese animals.
I mean, you've seen reptiles in the wild, man. Yeah. And how many obesity reptiles do you see in the wild?
Never. Hip bones are a normal thing in the wild. Obviously in captivity, we don't want, we want healthy animals.
Right.
But in the wild, they don't have a keeper that's giving them food all the time.
Right.
So it's not uncommon to see thin animals in the wild. Thin versus healthy versus obese versus unhealthy is a whole other scenario.
Right.
So you need to be able to make that appropriate decision with whatever species you're keeping.
Now, let me ask you this: what kind of adjustment do you recommend for somebody? And let's talk about Boelens because at the end of the day, people are buying Boelens. People are coming in this hobby with money, skipping the whole corn snake ball python thing and like, give me a Boelens, you know what I mean? And 100%, half of them are at least fucking it up, right?
Yeah, I would say.
So let's say you have somebody who's listening right now, either not doing the dieting to the point where you're like basically overfeeding. How would you adjust? Like, how do you recommend anyone adjusting, overfeeding? Like, you know what I mean? If anyone out there's overfeeding right now, how would you adjust that?
Well, I mean, you obviously you want to dial back your feeding regimen appropriately, not just for Boelens, but for whatever it is, obviously
anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give Boelens for an example. So I feed, the adults here eat every 10 to 14 days.
Right.
And that's pretty frequent. Sometimes, I mean, I'll go, a month before I'll offer a prey item for some of these animals, depending on.
They discharge pretty quick. Like what, I mean, some, I don't know, species, I feel like hold on to their shits longer than others. I mean,
sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I mean, with Boeleni in the wild, biological markers is a big factor with them. And when I say biological, I'm saying, like feces and urates.
Right.
They use this, as a territorial marker in these areas that they're at. So I'll leave urates. I will leave sheds also in some of these enclosures because this is important. This is their territory.
Yeah.
And it's not just with Boeleni, but we do that too with, the croc monitors. We do that with other snakes. We do that with lizards. We do not want to have a completely sterile environment for these enclosures because these animals rely on that biological notification.
Like shit gets dirty in the wild.
It does. I mean, obviously I don't say, you don't want to have shit everywhere.
They'll be like Michael Jackson. There's feces on the walls. The white's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. That
okay.
sounds racist. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
No, listen, but I always knew that the fucking calcium shits are basically they're bone shits, right?
Yeah.
But I always knew, I was like, dude, I feel like these are important. So like even in my rack, like in my tub, if I have breeding going on, I'll leave like the stuff that's like stuff hard to get out. I'll just kind of leave it.
In my opinion, that is perfectly fine. I mean, obviously you want to maintain a clean environment. That's important.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Some people like, especially in ball python game, people think being overly sterile is what you need to be. Yeah. And I feel like there's a happy medium there. Like
I agree. And in my experience isn't with, and I mean, I love ball pythons. They're an incredible snake. They're fantastic. And to be honest, they're one of the reasons why we're still doing what we're doing. They have such a huge influence in the industry, in my opinion.
Right.
Because
they get a lot of people hooked.
It's a perfect.
Where do you think I came from?
That's right. Hey, and there's nothing wrong with ball pythons. I know a lot of people hate on ball pythons, and I think they're super.
By the way, this episode is brought to you by Justin Kabelka at KINOVA. Bro, this guy this is the #1 ball python guy in the fucking world.
That's pretty cool.
I'm so proud of this guy, man. I'm just telling you, because I've seen this guy come from a long ways, like doing YouTube videos, or I don't know about YouTube, but this guy has documentation videos in his college dorm, 19 years old, working with ball pythons. Like I'm talking about, guy was into ball pythons before it was like what it was today.
Cool.
So
that's great. Yeah.
And I feel like that's special, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't have that that love of ball pythons the way they should, because a lot of it's driven by what they see on YouTube and like, oh, there's nothing wrong with it.
It's ball pythons are great. I love ball pythons. They're awesome.
Love to see
I do get a little. It does get a little repetitious sometimes at the show when you see ball python, ball python, ball python, ball python. However, they're still very cool and they do belong there. I mean, they have as much respect being at a show as any other animal. And they're super influential to this younger generation that's coming up, which is so important.
But I just feel like, you know what, you're right about the ball python. But if you had Justin's Table, but the thing, like you have Brock Wagner, like you have like, this is why Tinley's Tinley, because it's not just ball python. Like we're talking a snake that could buy you a house. You know what I mean? Like if you made that, which is insane, right?
Yeah.
But all the people who are the ball python they're on a mission, you know what I mean? And I do give it, because bro, the whole ball python game as a whole is a foundation for the hobby itself.
I agree.
Snake.
It's a gateway snake.
I agree.
Man. I'm telling you right now.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Dude, a ball python game is marijuana. In a good way. That's really amazing.
Is there a bad way?
If you could be any drug, it'd be weed.
Yeah.
What would be like meth? Venomous? I'm just kidding.
That could be good. Yeah, man.
I'm so sorry, the venomous keepers. That's not true. Although there's some fucking weird venomous keepers out there.
There are some.
There's some. I mean, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
True. Matt Summers again. That's true. There are, and no matter what the species is, there's some weirdos out there.
Oh yeah, it's 110%. Yeah. You're not. I mean, you car people that are weirdos. You got whatever.
Any hobby, there's
gonna be weirdos. Yeah, and that's what's entertaining to an extent.
Okay, so back to the. I want to kind of talk about the cage. Okay, because you don't have typical enclosure sizes at this zoo. The biggest you could possibly go. So Boelens, I feel like we were talking about, like a new keeper with Boelens maybe doesn't understand the temperature of a Boelens, right? Overheating or whatever. Like it's mostly somebody overheating than underheating a Boelens.
Yeah.
Right?
So so it's like, and first I was like, I don't want to sound like I'm an expert on it. Like, I don't know.
You only live with them in the wild. What do you know?
I don't. Yeah, I know.
I mean, why don't you write a book about it?
Yeah, right. Two of them.
He did. Two of them.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up with that? Okay, I really want that.
Okay. Did you get the book?
Yeah, Forrest has that.
The white book. Yeah,
bastard.
Yeah, it's a good book. Yeah.
Anyways,
we're still learning. I mean, that's the exciting thing about this industry and hobby. We're always learning, and it's like, a good friend of mine, Russ Gurley, who's a turtle guru, and he just works with so many interesting, obscure animals. And we had a talk when we were hanging out one time at his place, and he's like, if you could work with one species only, and before you finish it, I said Boeleni. I was like, that's it. That's just what I do. That's
your niche.
That's my niche. I feel like, I'll be as cheesy as it gets. I feel like I was put on this planet to do work with these snakes and tell people and teach people about it. But I'm not saying I know everything there is about Boelens pythons, because I'm still learning on this stuff. And so we're learning what works, what doesn't. To be honest with you, they're a very hardy snake.
Right.
But they're also very easy to fuck up.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And like with anything else, you will have issues with working with animals. I have a perfectly healthy animal that is a pure captive bred animal from a very close friend of mine, Frederick Avenberg, and in Sweden. And I just had to put the animal through surgery because it had an impactation that just came out of nowhere. So, I mean, it happens.
And what was removed, or what was?
It was a large overcalcified piece of urate.
Wow.
That just couldn't pass.
Shit.
So, I mean, it happens. Things.
And
like
do you
that
feel
happen.
like that would have just gotten bigger or worse?
Oh
or
yeah, it could have killed the animal.
Oh wow.
So it's like, but
I mean, good thing you noticed it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the things about checking your animals every day.
Every day.
You've got to look at your
animals.
animals.
It's like you grown men out there.
Yeah, you got to check. You got to check them every day. Check them every day, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so, I think the biggest, I think the
weirdo.
Biggest, yeah, right, weirdo. I think the biggest issue that I see with Boeleni in captivity rather is overfeeding.
Right. Just like almost every other species.
Yeah. I mean, they are a constrictor. They're a large constrictor.
But they don't need as much.
And they will eat. They will eat. You feed it to them, they will eat.
Because they're opportunists. Like that's like
exactly
anything. Any snake is like, it feels like it could be my last meal ever.
Exactly. And we
that's how I
right. Yeah,
oh my god. I look at this shit like this is like I'm about to hit the electric chair.
Yeah, right. So like pee. But we create a lot of behavior that these animals start developing, and feeding is a big one. In the wild, they're feeding probably maybe once or twice a month.
Right.
The environment just doesn't support a constant feeding supply like that. It's a harsh environment for stuff like that to live. So, it's not feeding your animal once a month or twice a month on a Boeleni is not unheard of. You're not going to kill that animal doing that. And it's not like you're treating it any poorly or being a poor, husbandry for it to do that. That's just what they are designed to do.
Well, let's talk about a well-established animal that happens. Like, let's talk about well-established breeder male that happens to turn off food.
Yeah.
There's people who lose their fucking minds when they're like five
oh God,
weeks,
I
no
do.
food.
I do. Because it's like, these are your babies. These are your passion and something, not a routine. See, the thing with my animals here is we have a routine. Like I can think right in my head right now. I know exactly where each one of these Boeleni I have is right now without going into the room. Because that is their routine. And when you throw them off.
But what I'm trying to say is like routine for a ball python sometimes where a male will turn off food
when
it's breeding. But you're saying like that's not really routine for a male Boelens?
No, a lot of times. So males will go off feed during breeding. Okay. Breeding season in captivity. I've never come across an animal feeding in the wild. I've seen animals that had recently eaten something. But
think about the rare opportunity to see an animal, a snake to catch another.
Not
animal.
Just something is special as a Boeleni, but just anything coming across. I mean, I remember coming across a Crotalus atrox, a Western Diamondback, and it was feeding on a rabbit in the wild.
Wow,
and that was incredible to see.
A
wild rabbit. I mean, I thought somebody was getting murdered when I heard it at first, and then I came upon it, and I was
that's
like, "Oh
why
my God."
I could not do the whole feed rabbit thing, dude.
Yeah,
that's like a screaming big. Oh man, it's so
but I mean, ball pythons is a perfect example of when an animal will go off feed. I know ball pythons that have gone off feed for a year.
Yeah, and they're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, any breeders out there losing their tits about a couple weeks or 6 weeks, relax. It's gonna eat when it wants to eat.
Yeah,
you're fine, Matthew. You're fine. But yeah, I don't know. The overthinking I think is a huge problem with any keeper that's new into this.
Yeah,
because obviously they don't want to fuck up.
Yeah,
but they hear different information. Like the biggest, hardest thing for me, guys, was like hearing different things on how you should do something, and then you finally get down to what's right. And that came down to my own experience. Because at the end of the day, your best teacher is your experience.
Yeah, and you've got to link up with a good,
reputable,
right, group of people to be able to learn from. You've got to be able to have that, and it's not just for learning how to maintain your animals properly. Also, by doing your research from literature and whatnot, and word of mouth. But surrounding yourself with positive people is critical.
It is okay to ask. It is okay to make mistakes.
Yes,
it is,
and that is one thing that a lot of keepers, as well as myself too. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to ask for help.
It's hard.
You've got to get over the ego to be able to ask.
It's for the betterment of the animals.
It's because what we do is the love of what we do. We need to be able to just say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm going to reach out to somebody or just put it out there and say, hey, has anybody experienced this?
So you're saying, should I switch up my game plan when somebody asks me where I could find a United States captive-born and bred chondro, and I respond with no habla inglés? I'm so sick of it. Yeah, because everyone wants to know where it's at, and I tell them, "Oh fuck, they're expensive. You know anyone else?" No, I don't. They're United States captive-born and bred.
You get what you pay for.
You fucking get, dude. Yeah. And then they get mad they have to wait on a wait list, and and I'm like, dude, good.
There are people that are working with these animals, and this is what they do. You are going to be getting an animal that is hopefully not going to be a problematic feeder. You're going to have incredible genetics with the animal, and you are going to be getting a captive bred animal that you do not have to worry about as much as you were to say to get an import animal for $300 at a show.
Well, this is what I think, because at the end of the day, I was that chondro keeper who would see a $400 chondro at the show, and see that somebody would sell, hey, I got something that looks exactly like that, but I bred it myself, and it's $1,200. I remember fuck, $1,200. Did not really know the true value until I hatched my own fucking chondro clutch. Until I saw 14 eggs die on me in front of my face, the first clutch, and then another 14 died on me the next year. It sucks.
I've had babies come out of the egg and they lasted a month, and all of a sudden they dropped dead.
I honestly remember that. Fuck that $1,200. This shit should be like $2,200. This shit needs to go up, because this is not. Dude, this is your emotions you're putting into this, your time, your energy,
and you've also got to think
everything. So Boelens need to go up too.
God, don't do that. Oh, God.
No, it already has.
Oh yeah.
But hold on, if you had hella babies, then you'd be like, yeah, let's go.
No.
So okay, let me ask you that. So the price tag on Boelens right now.
Oh, we're gonna do this.
Why not? Because
Right.
I mean, I'm curious.
So
I mean,
so my thing is these animals are special animals. Not
very
just because,
special.
Yeah,
They're-
not
they're-
just because these are my passion and these are my love. They are special
That's
animals.
why they're on
There's-
Earth. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and it's not just Boelens. It's scrub pythons. It's ball pythons. It's iguana. It's every species is special.
Right.
Like you touched on earlier about it's cool to have people are skipping into this, and I don't want to sound like you there's a level of before you can have this. That's not fair.
Custom your water.
But and I forgot where I was going with this.
I'm just listening. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I don't always.
See, it happens to the best.
Yeah, it's
This guy wrote a
happening.
book and he fucked up.
I was gonna
I
say,
love it.
well, I don't think price always depicts it because, like, for example, there could be somebody with, millions of dollars and they could see it as just another expense and they won't put all the time and passion into it. There could be somebody that makes not as much of that, but they can still put a lot into
So
that
let's
animal.
put it on this side of things where somebody put a lot of money, because right now if you really, especially if you want to get something that's beyond a hatchling,
Yeah.
you're spending thousands
Yeah.
on an individual animal, right? So let's say there's a keeper out there who acquires animals, puts that much money and time, does it right,
Yeah.
does everything fucking right, hatches and is fortunate to have babies.
Awesome.
Right?
That's the goal.
But what would be the goal price tag wise? Like theoretically, like let's say this guy, let's say he got to a point where he produces enough where he could sell them.
And we're referencing what species? Boeleni?
Fuck,
Okay.
the number one. No, but yeah, I'm talking
so,
about
like,
this rarity
They're
because
captive bred.
I'm trying to get to why they are so expensive because
Yeah.
they're so goddamn rare. It's like the closest thing you get to a unicorn in the reptile game is this thing right here. I feel like because who has fucking bred them?
Well, there's people that have bred them. They have been reproduced. However, they're at a point now where it is. I feel very comfortable saying they are not at a point where we can consecutively reproduce them over and over and over.
Right.
Even Frederick is at a point where he hasn't been able to reproduce in the last few years, and he has reproduced them 5 times in consecutive year after year with multiple
and
animals.
he's breeding with it his own stuff that he's hatched out himself.
No, he has not
Or
done an
all
F2
wild
yet.
stuff? Oh, he has not.
I paired up F2s from him or F1s from him this year to see if anything happens. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I don't feel comfortable saying I should put a price tag on them because I don't know.
But what I'm trying to say is like, if you were that person, like let's just say if you were that person who was fortunate to have that,
Yeah.
would you keep things where they're at, or would you make it more affordable?
Well,
Like,
what I would
you-
want to do is, I personally, in my
Personally.
opinion, right now, I think the prices are astronomically ridiculous, and
And they're
I'll
not
tell you,
captive
and I will
bred.
tell you the reason
Right.
being with that.
They're kind of abusing it, to be honest.
Well, the reason being with that is, okay, first off, having a price tag, if you have an animal, you can set the price tag for whatever you want. That's your choice.
it's your choice.
However, where we're at right now, it really limits the individuals that are able to work with certain species. So we might have somebody that can't afford a pair of Boelens pythons because they're $20,000. And these animals, this person could reproduce potentially. That cuts out what we're trying to completely do, which is to
So we're saying we're letting money get in the way of this shit from making this animal more of a
money makes the world go round, and that's just how it is.
That's no matter what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
However,
That's how we get these snakes here.
exactly. I want these animals to have a price tag that makes them affordable for people that could potentially have a greater chance to reproduce these animals in captivity.
Not like cheap, but like
I have invested
more.
countless amounts of time, money into the animals I have, and I still have not been able to successfully reproduce them. That's not saying that you could buy a pair and breed them next year. That would be incredible. But could you afford buying $20,000 worth of snake to try it?
I mean, the crypto game is heavy right now.
Yeah, that's right. Now the other side of it
just
too
saying,
is,
bro, there's
yeah. Oh
motherfuckers-
yeah, exactly.
I got a friend.
think
I got a
these-
friend.
and I don't think these animals should be dirt cheap either. That they
No,
don't
they
deserve that because I don't want to see.
There's a
I
good
don't want to
middle
see
ground.
hundreds of these animals everywhere for $1,000, which is not, because it keeps away a lot.
Right.
But the other downside of it too, as we talked about, and I've been asked this also, and I hate getting into it, but I mean, it's you, so I'm going to get into it.
Please.
Because of course, and it's Boeleni. So it's like social media is such a powerful tool. We can achieve incredible things with it. We're doing it right now.
Right.
We're giving an outlet for people, that wouldn't normally have it. However, social media and the internet is one of the most dangerous, terrible things we could possibly have. And I'll give you an example with Boeleni. We've got all these young kids all over the world now. We've got people over in Papua that have internet, and they see what we're doing. And they see these prices that we see. They see, oh, I've seen that snake. My grandfather's seen that snake. You mean I can get $9,000 for that animal? I'm going to go out tomorrow with my friends, and we're going to go pillage every animal we get with hopes of making $1 million off these snakes.
Yeah.
And those animals have to be captive bred. They have to be at a facility to be exported. They have to be there has to be CITES for these animals. There's a whole list of things that goes into play before these animals wind up in somebody's hand.
Right.
So these animals that were just collected because of the grandeur of making $1 million are sitting in somebody's house now, and they're all going to die because they're not going to be able to go anywhere but that particular place they're at. So we're creating a feeding frenzy in the wild for these snakes. And that is going to come back and bite us in the ass.
It already is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Because they're doing desperate shit over there just to get us these fucking animals. And that's not
And
helping.
it's not helping the
wild.
cause.
No,
it's
hell
not
no.
helping
It's
the
making it
animals.
worse. We're drying it out.
We're drying it out. We can only, and when I go out there to talk to these people, I'm convincing these people to quit collecting these babies. Stop taking all these babies, because it's not going to do anything for us.
Damn, we should come up with some sort of like foundation or something. Like, let's pay these fools instead of take snakes out. Here, leave these snakes, and here's some money.
So I have done that.
They'll still take the snakes.
They
out.
still
They
take
don't
the
give a
snakes.
fuck.
No, because
Hey,
they've got an
thank you for your
Instagram
payment.
account and they got a Facebook page, and they see everybody saying, "Oh, I've got Boelens pythons for $10,000 each." Like, what?
Yeah.
And that's not just
Hustlers.
for Boelens. That's so many other animals.
Oh,
but
yeah,
but I
that's-
mean, Boelens have such a status now with these in the last 5 to 6 years that it's like, and I can't tell these people they can't feed their families, but I can certainly tell them to quit taking every fucking snake they find off the hill, thinking they're going to sell it for $9,000.
And how many people could really say they've actually broke bread with these families and actually seen why they do the shit that they do?
I
And-
live with these people when I'm there.
Right.
I see what they do, and these people have nothing. They are very poor people.
Right.
So for them to get money for an animal is a huge thing, and that's how they feed their families. And there's a sustainability aspect of it that we need to consider as well, where it's like saying, okay, hey, I'm not opposed to animals, them collecting animals. I'm opposed to them seeing them and going through and just decimating these areas to get everything they can with the hope of selling these animals. But they're not. They can't get them out because there's a regulation and there's strict protocol to get these animals to us that they have to follow.
Right.
And that's just overlooked with a lot of this stuff.
Well, I mean, before we dip into, like, we're kind of already in the Boelens talk.
I know, right? You're going to.
But what I want to mainly touch on right now is a lot of people are understanding that size matters.
There you go. Yeah.
Size matters as far as, if the snake's big, give it fucking big room. Like, give it room to
Yeah.
like spacious. But I feel like putting in something in a big enclosure could get tricky with maintaining heat. It could get tricky with like keeping stuff on where it is. And I mean, bro, it just seems like things are fucking right based off what's done already. But you have stuff that's big that's not done yet, like major shit. So anyone out there who's getting into a species that's realizing I need to give this thing as much room as possible.
Yeah.
What are your suggestions?
So
So
that-
maintenance, the heat structure, like what?
Yeah.
what is
So
your-
it really okay. So part of, obviously part of owning any animal is doing research prior.
right.
That's the thing.
100%.
And, a lot of people are impulsive. They get something right away and they're like, oh, how do I take care of it after I've got it in this box at home now?
Right.
So obviously when you're evaluating the size of the enclosure, we want to provide the largest enclosure possible for what we're keeping. Obviously, there's some animals that don't do well in really large enclosures because it's just too much panic for them. They're just not designed that way. They just don't feel comfortable like that.
Right.
So, and those are, that happens. But, you know, you've got to do your research with, you know, your lighting, your heating elements, you know, things that you're going to be incorporating in the enclosure.
Not
Obviously,
every animal's the same.
and not every animal's the same.
Because I know it's funny you realized, or funny I realized that you had a sick ass gaboon.
Yeah.
That you have in a smaller.
Oh no, the rhino viper.
The rhino
viper.
viper.
Yeah,
Right, rhino
yeah.
viper, right?
She's in a like a 3 foot large.
That's doing, but that's good for her, right there.
Because she's completely content in this environment. She has everything that she needs. She's able to move. She's able to stretch.
She's eating, shedding, shitting,
and
being
exactly,
normal.
and feeding normal.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, too, a lot of it is species specific as well, too, because like when you're comparing Bitis, for one reason, they're like rhino vipers and gaboons and puffs and all that, and Parviocula too. Is like a lot of these animals are ambush predators, which means they sit in a spot for weeks
and just chill
and they just wait.
Yeah.
They're not off cruising hundreds of miles. Not to say that some don't.
They're a blood python with venom.
Exactly. They sit there and they wait for food to come by. It's like these like Burmese pythons in some of these really large constrictors.
Right.
They're not designed to be constantly moving and moving and moving. They sit in ambush and they wait for their prey to come and then they move a spot. You know, with the Boeleni, you know, they're a prime example too. The animals that I'm observing in the wild, they have a home territory they stay in.
Right.
You know, they're not gone for miles and miles and miles.
Right.
You know, when they're babies, they stay in the nest until until they shed. They get that first shed off, then they leave mom, and then they disperse.
Right.
Where they go from there, nobody knows.
Right.
You know, I mean, I have theories about it, but I can't prove it. And then they establish their own territory. But like for that example, that rhino viper, she is perfectly content in there.
Yeah.
She's super healthy. She eats great. She shits great.
That's
She
how it
drinks
is with,
well.
like fossorial snakes too.
Yeah.
I like to keep them in racks and stuff, damp, lots of soil,
And dark,
where they feel like they're more secure. You know?
Yeah, and there's a term that we use here that Quetzal uses a lot called contact security. A lot of times these animals need to have that area where they can, you know, where they feel secure.
Yeah.
Right.
They
Like
can touch the sides.
Heavy cork bark on top, so they're like feel like they're underneath.
I don't know if it was Justin, but somebody made a good point that like they keep breeder males in a smaller contained area because they grow quicker, but they also feel better, like just in a smaller environment.
That's interesting. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, for whatever reason, just like in more contains helps them grow quicker or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just really feel like at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that are like, you know, if somebody who has money doesn't realize how much importance, like the research that you do could count on the longevity of the animal that you're buying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they're, at the end of the day, there's so many different things there's so many different ways to do things.
Yeah.
But
There's not one set way to do it. You can
Right.
do it in, like you said, in multiple ways, but you have to be able to research what you're doing prior
Ask.
and ask. Don't be afraid to ask people.
Like for
Right.
example, you can research ones that are more commonly kept, but sometimes like for example, I know this sounds silly, but if you don't know somebody who personally keeps a rarely kept animal, dude, like search that animal on Instagram or something and find people who are successfully keeping them and ask them about it.
Right.
It's okay to reach out.
So
you
many
know?
people are afraid to ask people because they're afraid their ego is going to be shattered.
Yeah.
Because they're going up and saying, "Hey, I don't know what I'm doing with this. I'm seeing this behavior, and I don't think this is correct. What am I doing?" You know, there's nothing more flattering to come up to somebody that has had success with an animal and somebody come up and ask you and say, "Hey, what are you doing with this?
Right.
Can you help me?"
Right.
You know, it's not. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we're all learning. That's how we evolve as better keepers, better individuals, and that's how we keep things. You know, keep our animals healthy.
Period.
You're having a mental
No.
moment.
I'm just thinking about it, like how amazing this is. I'm having a good time, and
Are you gonna cry?
no, I'm not yet. Not yet.
Get a little glossy
But
eyed.
that being said, okay, listen, if we get to the point, you know, gates open, you guys are ready to open up the doors. What's the game plan as far as like people wanting to come? Are you guys going to do like private tours? Or
No, it is public open. We are open for anybody and anybody, kids, grandparents. You know, it's like we want everybody to come here and enjoy this. That's why we're building this. That's why Quetzal has taken this incredible opportunity to put this out here. And that's why Ryu and I are working 7 days a week.
Tell me you guys are going to be open at night. Like there has to be a nighttime thing.
We have some really cool, exciting programs that we're going to do for a lot of educational things for this. It's just going to be just so much. We're not going anywhere.
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
We're stuck here. We live here.
Yeah, this is it.
I mean, this is a good place to be stuck. I think.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, listen. At the end of the day, I love San Diego, but dude, give me an emu, which
Yeah.
you have Xena.
yeah, we
You
got
have fucking mad property. Like
Yeah.
even when I go to check out Desiree and Steven's place, I fall in love where they're.
Yeah.
I understand why they're at where they're at until I go try sushi, and then I'm like, what? The
Oh yeah,
fuck?
I know. Yeah,
And then I'm all mad.
We have a pretty good sushi place, like, but you got to drive an
Yes,
hour and a half away
very
for it.
good.
So
You
it's
guys,
all right.
you guys don't got no.
Hour, not
Yeah.
an hour and a half.
Texting ain't got no sushi. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Okay, so
Yeah, we need uni out here.
no,
Yeah,
no.
no.
We're gonna transition this shit into the Bolins now.
Okay.
Officially now.
Okay,
Does
we're
that mean I can go pee?
Yeah. Do your
Yes.
thing. Yeah, do your thing. Fucking. So okay, you going over there research. I want to talk about
Yeah.
like the what was the connection to get you over to Indo or Papua New Guinea to like even start this journey? Like, who did you link up with?
Okay, so I started working. I first started looking into Bones pythons in like the early 90s.
Right.
And I had a friend at the time who was talking to me about this snake. And I didn't know what it was.
Right.
So I started looking and trying to do research on it, like I was talking about. And I
Right.
found like a paragraph here,
Right.
a sentence here. There was nothing. There was nothing on it. So then at that point, I was like, okay, I've got to start coming up with something. So then I reached out to everybody and anybody that I could that had possibly seen one, touched one, heard anything about it. And that's where it started right there. And then I forgot where I was going right with that.
As far as the connection, like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So at that time, and then I linked up with another friend of mine at the time, and he had done some work out in Indonesia.
Right.
So I said, I'm going with you. I want to go with you. And I just
and you
went.
hopped on.
And I just went. And then after that, I couldn't stop going. It was already in my blood.
What year was that?
That was I took my first trip early 2000s.
Damn. And let me ask you, I mean,
Yeah.
you've seen a crazy like evolvement from the early 2000s to now. And
Yeah,
you're
it's
seeing
changed a
firsthand
lot.
it's changed a lot, and not for the better, I'm assuming, right?
No, I mean,
Because it's getting more, they're getting more poor, obviously.
yeah, I mean, they're getting poor. You habitat
Animals are less,
destruction.
yeah.
I mean, the biggest threat that Bull and I have is obviously habitat destruction.
Right.
Because every time I go there, there's like a new section that's been bulldozed over, or there's a new area that's moved in, and then it's just how people are. But I've seen a lot of growth too, positively, with me just trying to bring awareness to some of these local people to say like how important this animal is here.
Right.
Because it's not just, they all know about it, they all see it, but it's also ingrained in their culture as well.
But like, I mean, how were they seeing you come over and like wanting to be interested in their culture? How did they take that on?
Well, at first they it was not overly as welcome as I had hoped it would be. Obviously, I was going into a culture. Where am I supposed to even be looking at? I don't even know where I'm supposed. Okay, right there. There you go. There you go. Okay, I'm like, where do you go? So like I saw that they see this crazy white guy who wants to come in here. He's looking for snakes. It took me 3 or 4 times to go out there before I actually was brought to the right area, because they didn't know what the hell I wanted. They just saw me as a person that brought money with them to to go out in the field. There he is.
I'm okay.
And you okay? Yeah, you're
It was
good.
a great story.
Oh, it was a good story. Yeah, I saw you get a little choked up.
No, I'm good.
Okay. But and then after a while, they started trusting me because they saw me coming back and forth. And then it was like, okay, now this
showing
guy's
respect,
serious.
right.
Yeah. I'm living with them in their village. I'm eating with them. I'm doing things that the locals are doing. I'm coming in with respect, and I'm leaving with with understanding.
A change of life.
Oh,
Like a
of
change
course.
of view of life.
It's a complete life
Bro,
change.
my life changed reading your book.
Oh, well, that
Like
means
just,
a lot.
I mean,
Yeah.
just kind of seeing this. I mean, I don't want to call it sacrifice because that was you were doing what
Oh,
you
no,
wanted to do.
It is sacrifice. Like
it is
it
sacrifice,
is.
yeah.
Like I literally risk my life every time I go there. And I've been in situations where I was like, oh, this could be it, and that's what I've accepted, because this is my love. These animals are what I'm doing, and that's it. But I mean, now it's like every time I'm there, it's like I'm welcome with open arms from these people, because they know what I'm there to do. There's no surprise, they're hoping I bring them something from the US, things
So,
like that.
like,
Levi jeans.
Me and my boy
Yeah.
Andrew, even Steven, we talk about like how much we want to go to Indo, but what is your advice? Like if we
Go.
no, but not only that, like what kind of like offerings do we bring to like a sick ass tribe or something?
Well, you're not going to be able to go to a sick ass tribe right off the bat.
Well, I mean, once we get there, what do you recommend? Like,
So,
some weed or?
Yeah, well, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I ain't
No,
bringing none
no,
of that.
yeah, I wouldn't do that. They'll kill you.
No, I'm real curious. Like, what are some things?
Well, the ideal, the situation is it's easier than just saying when we go.
Right.
You have to have a goal, one goal, and even that is difficult to achieve sometimes because it's not like you're traveling domestically where you're like, hey, okay, I can do this. I want to go look for rattlesnakes. I want to go to this. I want to that. No, I mean, you've got a lot to deal with. You've got customs to go through, permits to go through, travel. Now it's shots. You've got to deal with tribal people. You've got to deal with government officials. You've got to deal with local police. It is not an easy trip to get there. It takes you 3 or 4 days just to get to where I go.
Yeah.
And then when I'm there, it's
already
not
ready.
a walk in the park with it. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like this, this and that, but I'm being legit, like real.
Okay, so for instance, minimum, how many days would you go out there? With that being said, for somebody like
for my trips, and I've been going for over 15 years now. I think 14, 15 years. For my trips, I do it in about 2.5 weeks. And that is impressive because I've been doing it so long. I know exactly where to go. I know the routine and I know what to follow.
Did you still get everything in within those 2 weeks or no? Like
sometimes it doesn't even happen. Sometimes I'll lose
shit.
Sometimes I get stuck. I've been stuck for a week in a place that I wasn't supposed to be.
And you went back home or some
shit.
Well,
I had to, and I couldn't do what I needed to do. So I had to do it remotely with my guys.
Damn.
So it is, I mean, because I hear people, they're like, oh man, I want to go to Indo so bad. I want you to take me with me. And I'd love to show people this, but it's like, you cannot do it in 2 weeks.
The stars have to align.
Yeah. And shit happens. And when it does happen, a lot of time it doesn't happen the way you want it. So you've got to be able to go with the flow. Yeah. I mean, I've been asked people like, oh, I want to go see tree monitors in the wild. Oh, I want to see Boelens pythons in the wild. I want to see Halmahera scrubs. I want to see Timors. I was like, dude, you're talking about 5 months right there. Right. If you're lucky. In about 30 grand to do that.
Minimum.
It is not, and I don't want to discourage people from doing it because you need to experience the world. You need to experience nature. You need to be able to experience these animals in person. But it is not a simple task to do it.
I mean, let's even talk about, I mean, it's funny that we're mentioning, like, all we're talking about is just getting connected with the right tribe.
Exactly.
But let's say you get the right tribe, but you have getting to find a Boelens in the wild. Like, let's talk about the journey that you went through to get to even see
it took
a fucking
me 3 years
Boelens
probably before I saw my first one in the wild.
Right.
Before I was in the right place with the right people, linked up with the right scenario. And then once I saw that, then my guys, like, I have a very, very close family out there that I've been dealing with for the last 10 years. And they're one of the hunters that are out there that have been doing this for years and years. Their grandparents have been seeing these animals. So it's like, it took me forever to find these people right. And then once I did, then, it's like, they're my family. I talk to them, once a week to find out what they're doing. And they carry out a lot of my work while, this last 2 years have been so difficult for me. I've been so stir crazy. Thankfully, I've been working on this project where it's been keeping me so busy that I haven't been able to get back.
Yeah.
So these guys are maintaining my research for me. So when I get back, hopefully the end of this year,
you don't miss nothing.
I'm not missing anything.
Damn, you're super plugged,
dude. This has taken me years.
It was well deserved. That's
this
awesome.
Is like this is a life. This is legit a life.
Yeah.
It's more than passion. It is life. That's what it is. I mean, this last couple of trips when I was out there, when I finally was able to photograph and film babies hatching in the wild from a nest, like I almost died. Like I literally almost
what did you
died.
get? Malaria or what'd you get? Or
I think it was no, I've had Giardia like a bunch of times, but that's a whole other story. Diarrhea is a great weight loss. I'm just waiting for a bout of it soon.
Oh my god.
I from the description of the symptoms, people told me I had malaria, but it was whatever I had, it was absolutely debilitating. And I literally thought I was going to die. It was probably the scariest moment I've had out there. And I've had some I've been held up by locals. I've had locals try to bash my skull in with rocks. I mean, I've had arrows pointed at me and stuff, but I got really scared this time because I was sick. And
you were sick.
I was stuck in a hut in the middle of nowhere. I was going to be a mummy by the time somebody found me.
Was this when you woke up and you were strapped to a bed, or was this another story?
No, that was a different story.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
I had the key.
You had the key. So they're like, all right, sir, see you when you're better.
Yeah, I know it's right. But it's just like, and I don't want that to discourage people from experience the wild and stuff like. I mean, there's go. Don't hesitate. But you have to have
what's coming.
Yeah. If you're gonna play, you've got to be able to play hard.
I'm a Nancy, bro. I'm kind of like fucking like stories I heard about.
And it is
how he wasn't in.
It is a wild reality check. Let me tell you, when you get there, it is. I've had people say, "Oh, I want to go with you, man. I want to go with you. I can do this. I'm military. I can do this and that." And I'm like, no, this is not what you're expecting. This is something very different.
This is for the real deal.
This is the real deal.
You have to adapt too.
And the places
and you have to adapt.
The places I go are not on maps. I mean, they're not. They're not a publicly viewable place. These are.
Let's talk about the shit you were eating out there. Like,
dude, I've been eating dog out there.
Oh my God! Don't tell me that.
I've been eating.
Ari, I'm so upset with you right now.
Giant bats.
Okay, that's
shit
cool.
like that. I mean, it's like
you gotta go with the
I feel like if I was in that environment, I'd be like, "Fuck, give me some dog, bro."
You've got to. You have
just
to.
Don't show me.
Yeah. I didn't want to see that.
I can't see it. Please, I'll fucking kill myself.
Yeah, it's like
I'd rather die to eat. I honestly would die before I eat dog. Just so I would never eat.
I didn't. I mean, it was given to me. I didn't know what it was at first, but I knew right away what it was when it was.
You probably were ordering that shit on the menu.
Well, once. Yeah, I mean, I was once the the collar stopped jingling, I was able.
No,
I'm sorry. No, I'm just joking. No.
The ball.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
You're right. No. God,
oh my
but
God, Lily's crying right now. I'm reporting.
But yeah, it's a reality check. It's an adventure, but it is straight a reality check on this stuff, because these people deal with this stuff. I mean, not just in Papua. This is all over the world. It's like you have to be aware of what you're getting into.
So I mean, even after you let's just say with all the research that you've continued to do from your experience out there, how do you feel as far as like your success with the Boelens? I mean, do you feel like it's going to come at some point? I mean, obviously you can't predict the future, but do you feel like you're like the stuff that you've twitched and the stuff that you've learned, and I don't know, like, I mean, what do you feel like? Do you feel like
I hope. I mean, I would love to realistically be able to produce. I would love to walk into my snake building and see one of my females sitting on a clutch of eggs.
Right.
Because that would not just for the fact of being able to say I did it, but that would make me know that my animals are happy, I'm doing it right, and they have everything they need. And that would make me feel accomplished. But on the other side, I look at it like, man, I've seen a lot of eggs in the wild, and I've seen babies hatching in the wild, and I've seen wild Boelens pythons. So it's like, it's kind of like the catch-22, like I've been given,
right?
And I don't want to sound all spiritual and all that shit on it, but like this trip when I thought I was going to die, like I seriously thought like I was given a gift right there to see these babies hatching, in this experience, to be there in that moment where I'm sitting on a side of a cliff and I'm in this marshy area and I've got my guides with me and I got my Papua dudes with me and I'm watching these eggs pipping in front of me.
God, and then I was like, here you go, Ari.
And then I am,
you poor bastard,
dead sick at that point. Like it just came. It's like, all right, you got your treat and now you're going to pay for it.
So you got sick after the whole egg experience. So I think you were accepting death at that point.
Oh, I was there, but I still had to go. So like while I was tossing and turning in this hut,
did they give you any kind of meds or
did
they get you high off anything?
I know, because I travel with medic kit and all that stuff, like satellite phones, EpiPens. I mean, this is legit. We're off the radar, man.
We're off the grid.
You die, you're fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, legit. I mean, I hate to say it. I'm sorry for the language, but you're fucked.
And okay, let's say if you would have died in that hut, how long would it take for the mainland to find out that you were dead?
They would have had to carry me out. It probably would have taken a couple weeks for them to get me out into the area where I was at.
God forbid your mom would have found out when.
Oh, yeah.
A month later?
Yeah, something? My kid. Like, that was the only thing. Like, I kept thinking of my kid when I'm laying in there. And I'm just like, and then after that.
Adelaide was how old?
She was 10, I'd say.
Oh, wow.
So, and then I kept thinking of that. And then I kept thinking, oh, shit, I got to go back down. I got to get more data. So then I'd be like, like I'm freezing and I'm like, and I'm out there like setting up cameras and I'm setting up data loggers and all this shit. And I'm like, this is I've been waiting for this moment my entire life. I was like, this is it. I want to see. I was like, but yeah, it was like you said, like, like I paid the price. I got so sick. I probably dropped like 15 pounds in that week I was there because I was so sick.
I'm just curious the recovery aftermath. Like, how long until you actually felt normal again? Like,
it was a couple weeks,
at least,
a couple weeks before.
And did you heal up there? You had it like
I was still in Indonesia,
right?
So I was able to when I got out.
No hospital. You never went to a hospital.
No,
wow,
I didn't do any
hospital.
Gangster. So like when I got out of when I left Papua and I got back to Jakarta and I just kind of like laid there for like a few days with my friend, and it was just like, you know. And I recovered there, and I was fine when I got back. By the time I got back home, I was fine. But like I was trashed. I was, you know, and I came back one time and I bashed my toe in a rock in a creek, and I had this huge infected toe when I came back.
Oh my God, your feet!
Nasty.
I mean, dude, your feet are everything out there.
Oh yeah, it was bad. Like it was this huge, like massive pus ball that was like, you know, it was legit. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's serious shit.
Gnarly, bro.
I'll never forget when you called me on that satellite phone.
Oh yeah.
I'm like right at a balloon's nest. I was like,
yeah, this is
he hit you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I tried. Okay, so I spoke to Ryu, and then I tried calling my good friend Keith, and he didn't answer the fucking phone. And
Keith McPeak. Hey, real quick, shout out to Keith McPeak.
Of course.
Yeah.
I love you, Keith.
You're the man.
You are.
That's all I gotta say.
Man,
I'm glad you're healthy. I'm down. You're doing good.
Yeah.
But this is you, motherfucker. You're the man.
Yeah.
Keith McPeak.
Keith got really sick during this COVID.
I know.
Stuff. It was scary.
He was like right there to come on Trap Talk. Right there. And then he got sick.
He's
and
a
I was
strong
like,
motherfucker.
I prayed hard for you, Keith.
Yeah.
Prayed hard for you.
See you at the top.
See you at the top.
See you at the
See you
top.
at the top.
Yeah, that's right. See you at
I'm
the
really
top.
glad that you're doing good, Keith, and see you on the show soon.
Yeah,
but yeah,
definitely. So, but yeah, so I called Ryu and I called Keith. Ryu answered. Keith didn't. Sorry,
Damn.
Sorry,
So
love you.
He married Ryu.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Teresa's
Ryu got the ring.
Yeah, Teresa's probably very happy.
I think Keith might be happy too.
Yeah, that's true. I was gonna say. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
okay, dude, what an experience. To you actually even seeing that. You know, at the end of the day, I feel like I don't even feel like you're even tripping that you have had a clutch at this point, because what you've already accomplished,
Yeah.
that nobody could say they've really seen. I mean, how many people could say that they've seen fucking you know, this species hatch in the wild?
I can't even think.
Who? Nobody.
Yeah, I
think you're fucking like a goddamn.
I mean, my guides
omen.
with me. That was. I mean, my guides with me, but they see this stuff. But it was like
but you're probably even the guys are probably, wow, you're getting lucky with type shit like that, right? I'm assuming. Yeah.
Well, it was crazy. I mean, the hardest part was for me to convince them to leave the babies.
Right.
I mean, that was the thing. And
because you're like, please leave them, and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, we need them.
yeah, exactly. And
Like
and
while they're pipping, they took them.
oh, they were wanting to. It was really hard.
Were you like,
and
were
I
you about
got
to cry, or were
oh,
you,
it was so hard. But I mean, it's like I can't tell them
because it's
no.
their money.
It's like I can't say no. You can't tell. I was just like, I don't want to see this. You know, I'm not here for that. I'm here to research these animals. And
then
you know,
take
I
them,
have. I mean,
that's sad.
I've been so fortunate to have so many supporters. What an incredible supporter friend and good friend of mine is Todd Goodman from Timberline, and he always helps out with my research and he had helped out at that particular time when I went out there.
Wait, we're talking about Timberline, like the Timberline, like the U.S. Like if it's not Cold Blooded Cafe, fucking jumping a bunch of money, it's Timberline. Is that what we're talking about?
And Todd has been an incredible supporter for my research, and I was able to utilize some of the funds that he sent. I was able to basically pay them to leave some babies there.
Damn, shout out to Todd.
Yeah, so it was hopefully they probably took him after.
Oh, they hella took. But at least not in front of you. At least
it was like the fact that I was doing that to say, please, here, this is how serious I am. Don't take these animals. We need to leave these. We need to leave some of these animals here. You know, it's like.
Dude, your voice, the way you're sounding, makes me want to cry right now.
It was tough. It was tough. You know, every time I'm out there,
this
because
is sad. Because
I follow these guys, and it's taken me years for these people to trust me. Right. Now that I'm so just basically like I'm following them. Like, you know, I've got my pack on. They've got their bag of sweet potatoes. We're chewing peanuts, smoking cigarettes, and we're up that fucking mountain. And it's like I'm part of the family.
Do you got any of that peanut like anywhere around?
Dude, no.
I'll try it.
Oh yeah, we'll try it.
I'm just saying, what's up with that peanut though? Because like really, that's what those motherfuckers eat. That because they don't have drugs and shit out there. Like,
well, there's drugs out there that they use. I mean, drugs are really frowned upon over in Indonesia,
right.
And the penalties.
Like you're gonna lose your head over there.
Yeah,
like, so beheading, right.
But I mean, there's like I've heard there's cannabis out there. I have never seen it. But peanut is like a staple. I mean, and it's a social thing.
You talk about a guy in your book who was like fucking the red truck, or he had like a sticker on the back of his truck, and he was kind of like the guy and plug for all that shit. Almost.
Oh
I feel
God,
like.
yeah. There's so.
What
many
was
of
his
them.
name?
Oh, I'm trying to remember that one.
Big scary boy. Like he wasn't
Scary
black.
guy.
No, but I forget. But he had like I forgot how you describe. It's been a while since I read your book, but the way you described them, like he was like the man. Like you know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah. There was a couple guys like that were just like the old dudes.
Right.
That were in there. One of them, his name was Sabundi.
Sabundi.
Yeah, Sabundi was a pimp. He had
Damn,
died
hard.
like the year after I went back from a heart attack out there. But he was an old school guy that was out there, and he had like he was this Javanese guy that was out in Papua, and he had this like slick black hair, and he was like, you know, just
That's the guy I'm talking about.
yeah, he was pretty cool. He
Slick
was
black hair.
his wife made some killer river prawns. We caught a bunch of river prawns, and she cooked those things up. It was bomb.
Damn, prawns sound good. Right
Oh
now.
yeah, it was pretty solid too. It's good. But yeah, I mean, I've had some incredible people. I mean, like I've seen some wild stuff out there, like just shit that is just like, are you kidding me? Stuff. It's just, you know,
No, the crazy thing is you're here talking about it. Like,
you know, that's the thing.
you almost
I
shouldn't.
really feel just so. I mean, like I'm not a religious person. I mean, I feel so blessed just for what I've been able to experience and see, and be able to bring it back and share it with people. Like that is one thing about me. Like as you like my friends know that like I'm probably one of the most humble people you'll meet, and I'm so happy to share what I find, and so happy to. So happy to be able to, you know, convey like my experiences, my research, my findings, things like that, because that's how we grow. You know, that's how we grow as people and keepers. Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely
This
wish.
message has been brought to you by what, Hallmark or
KINOVA.
yeah.
No, but you're really helping me realize how like passing down information is crucial. But I just feel like there's some motherfuckers just don't. I feel like don't value what, like, even though they're asking, like you're gonna listen to what I'm gonna tell you. You're gonna go to somebody else and ask them,
and
then
that's
ask
fine
like,
if they want to go do that. But it's like whatever.
But
like,
for me, like when it's a million fucking DMs, I'm over it. Like I'm sick of it. Like so that's why I kind of have an attitude when someone's like, you know, where can I find a United States captain board and bred chondro? And I'm just like,
there's some incredible people working with them right now.
Shit ton,
and it's great because they're making these animals. They're not just being able to successfully reproduce these animals to a point where we have such a healthy, sustainable population.
Real quick, shout out to Reptile's clutch, most recent chondro clutch, right over there. Reptile.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, big shout out.
It's been 2 years at least. What, 2 years? 3 years? 3 years. Well, respect. Shout out to the Scrub King.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, it's also alleviating pressure from over collecting in the wild,
right?
Well, which is good too, because it doesn't do us, because I don't even know what the percentage of the imported animals that come in that usually pass away in captivity. I mean, it's probably ridiculously high. So we're creating these animals that we're providing for people to work with these animals in captivity that are healthy, sustainable animals. And you know, it's like, okay, the price tags are high, but you're getting something that's not going to turn around and fall off a stick in a month later. You're not going to have to worry about pulling animals in and having to pull parasites from these animals and do that stuff, even though you want to be routinely doing that stuff too anyways, but still, you know, so it's, you know, it's a good thing with what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Andrew, you okay over there, buddy?
Yeah, right.
It's fucking just losing it over here. This isn't a fire ass episode, so I understand why he's sweating.
I thought he was always sweating.
But so back to, you know, what I was saying as far as, you know, what's happening here with Boelens. You know, them, you know, obviously people are getting their hands on them more often, right?
But it's another thing. It's great that we're having that opportunity, because we're bringing these animals into captivity, and we could have somebody that could have success, that could have figured it out. That gives the opportunity for people to you know, I want nothing more than to be able to reproduce. That would be wonderful. I would love it. But being able to get them in capable hands where people can afford them, there might be somebody that's out there that just says, hey, I can't afford it, but I can breed it.
Right.
You know, and that's what you know, we want to be able to have a captive. We need a captive sustainable population for these animals, for captive conservation, because in my mind now, and I was telling somebody, it's like, I don't feel like wild conservation is moving in the direction.
Say that word one more time, I dare you.
Wild conservation?
No, the other word.
Captive conservation?
No, just that word what you just said.
I don't know. What do you say?
Take out wild.
Wild conservation.
Say it one more time.
Conservation.
Steven, get over here. I want to introduce Steven Kush. Conservation. Come here, Steven. Now sit over here, Steven.
Yeah,
Sit here.
Elaborate.
So the reason why I'm bringing Steven into this right now is because Steven's working with scrubs. Huge collection of scrub pythons, which Steven, sit right there next to right here.
Yeah. He's taking the jacket off.
Yeah, taking the jacket
Okay.
off.
Oh, it's getting serious.
Yeah. Right.
So we're kind of like I'm gonna sit down too. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We're in a position where Steven's in a position right now where he's, working with a big group of scrubs, all different types of species of scrubs and whatnot. But he could be in a position where he's hatching stuff out that is, I don't know, I guess no one's really working with the amount of stuff that you're working with right now, Steven, with the scrubs. Yeah. But with that being said, like how would you recommend these scrubs being put out to the public if he ever gets to the point where he's producing that much? Or
they need to be in capable hands.
Right.
We need to be able to establish assurance colonies of these animals.
I'm going to use the bathroom.
Because it's only a matter of time before the opportunity or availability for some of these animals just halt.
Sure.
And we've been presented with situations like that recently. That is a possibility that is very scary. That's why we need to support USARC.
Mm-hmm.
But with what Steven's doing with these scrub pythons, being able to reproduce these animals not only would help us understand these animals in captivity from another point, and you understand this obviously because we talked about this stuff earlier.
Yeah.
But it also would be able to get them in more capable hands to be able to have these groups of animals in captivity, so that we still can enjoy these animals. So it's not just something that we can say, "Oh, I remember in the '90s when we had these, and now we don't have them anymore." And that is a shame, because not only does it potentially affect wild populations, it will certainly affect our captive populations of animals.
And to me, I feel like one of the goals long-term with our project with the scrubs is to kind of eliminate that need for the wild-caught imports. In the grand scheme of things, I haven't been involved with the scrubs for too long, probably about 6 years now. But I've seen the availability. Tannenbar scrub pythons used to be the attainable scrub python, and I don't think one's been offered for sale publicly for probably 4 years or so.
Yeah.
We just can't rely on this anymore. Truly, in Europe, you can't get imports from Indonesia.
You can't have wild caught scrub pythons in Europe anymore.
And who's to say that we can't follow suit eventually or even soon? And I would even say, in the long run, the goal should be to no longer need these wild animals.
Yeah.
When you look at the, as you know better than anybody, the economic aspect of it from these other countries,
So
Get in there. Yeah.
There's like a different debate with that of, okay, some of these people living out there, they rely on these animals for their means of income. But from the animals' perspective alone, I think that should be the goal with almost anything that we're doing.
I agree.
Okay, well, Steven, I want to talk about how recently, because if it's somebody who's passionate like you are with Boelens, with scrubs, it's Steven, right? Like,
yes.
This motherfucker lives his
and
life.
So similar.
They're very similar, right?
Yeah.
Similar. Even though there's a lot more scrubs out there than Boelens, they're still rare. Like, scrubs are not something most commonly kept. But Steven was in a position where he had, Steven hasn't hatched out Moluccans yet. You know what I mean? But it's a matter of time, right? But there's been Moluccans hatched out there, priced for like fucking, I don't know, like something like on a crazy market value price, and that didn't sit well with you, did it, Steven?
Well, I would not to go. Should we get a little controversial?
Yeah, that's
I thought I did with the Boelens stuff.
Steven Kush.
And I don't want to repeat myself if we were outside when you were talking about this, but I would say what happened with these Classilepis is what Nerd did to Boeleni. Where
sit back. I'm listening.
Either we talk around the subject or we just address the subject.
We're in this shit.
In my opinion, Nerd bastardized the Boelens python. They turned it into this trophy for social media They look good on your TikTok with their iridescence, and let's falsely advertise these wild caught imported neonates that have passed through multiple hands before getting to them as captive hatched or captive or farmed or whatever the hell they want to say. To where when I was first getting into even just being aware of the market for Boelen's pythons, pairs were going from like 4,500 to 5,500. Not inexpensive animals by any means, but still fairly attainable for the right person. And then when then you're selling lone males for 10 grand a piece, you might as well take the snake and just lop its head off at that point. That animal is dead to the future. That animal will never reproduce.
And the other thing is like, what are you going to do with one animal?
And yeah, I mean,
why would you $10,000 for a single animal? What's the purpose of that animal?
One animal in the hands of somebody who does not know what they're doing with these animals. I mean, and not to ruffle more feathers, but a lot of the people who are being inspired by the way that these Boelens pythons have been presented are like the influencer types who probably have not even the slightest bit of knowledge of the climate that these animals come from. We work with Abronia, montane, venomous snakes and stuff like that. The way that, and for me, that's another reason why Boelens fascinate me. Any reptile that come from that higher elevation climate, it's so far of a disconnect from what we generally assume reptile husbandry to be. But, and I think that this is kind of what Nerd was doing with their Boelens pythons and spreading false information of just keeping them hot as shit all the time, like a ball python, like old ball python methods and whatnot. It's false information on top of sensationalism, and then at the end of the day, just worshiping the holy dollar. And there's the path for the Boelens pythons is so much harder than it needs to be now, because this is the attitude that has been created around them. I don't want to see the same thing happen for anything, but for me particularly scrub pythons, because they're the thing that I'm most passionate about. I think there's nothing wrong with a healthy market, but there's levels to this stuff. There's and then also kind of the ethics and morals behind, okay, we produced the Barneck scrub pythons. Only one of those animals was left at the facility. And I know exactly where that animal is.
Right here.
Right.
But that's only because I fucking predict that animal was there.
I kind of owed it to him.
Yes, you did. And you weren't going to give that to me without, can I be honest? Like you said, and Steve, here's the thing. Steven is a man of no cap. Like he literally lives by his word. And he really, that was one thing he really regrets saying, because he showed me a clutch. And I was like, how many are in there? He's like, 10. I was like, I guarantee there's 11. I was like, oh, he's like, oh, it could be. I don't know. I was like, listen, if there's 11, can the 11th one be mine? He's like, and he said, sure. If there's an 11th one and it makes it, like,
oh yeah.
And if it makes it, and I'm talking about like, all right, cool. Best believe all 11 fucking made it, dude. Of course. And then of course it came down to it. Sorry, MJ, I'm not one of these fucking things are leaving me. That was like the first 6 months to 7 months, and then Steven finally came down to sexing. Like he finally came, because you didn't give a fuck about the sex ratio for a while. Like you were.
I just wanted to see what they looked like.
That's all you cared about.
Yeah.
So what? I mean, when did you even sex them?
Though,
like the year after 1 year?
It was probably close to a year.
And that's when you're like, okay. And
it was when we kind of needed to come up with a lot of money really fast.
That makes sense. Son of a bitch.
But like,
I was like,
I got fucking okay. I don't want to tell the homie discount I got, but it's literally a Groupon. It's literally like the equivalent to a fucking sign up, get a free shirt type of shit. Okay, and I'm happy with MJ. Don't get me wrong, but I paid full motherfucking retail price on that motherfucker. It was not easy to get. Okay?
Well, I mean, that kind of goes
worth
into
it.
like my thoughts on like if there's something really rare that you're trying to reproduce and have success with. I think that sometimes the first people that you should send them to are people you have faith in and people you know that will do well with those animals.
Is that what you're telling me?
Except for
Oh man.
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Ryan, you
Jesus.
better stop.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
I'm just kidding.
God.
But and that is the truth of it, and it goes beyond scrubs or bolins or anything. That first generation of that really difficult species to breed, if you don't, honestly, the way I see it, if you're selling that thing in any sort of public forum where you're just going to accept a payment from anybody, you might as well take your cleaver and just lop the damn thing's head off. Like, you're killing that animal. It will never reproduce. You have no idea if it's going into capable hands or not. And this is something that we're always thinking about, and not to like sound like we're bragging, but we do have a lot of species that the first generation of their reproduction will be very important, like tricolor monitors, for instance.
Yes. You won't.
But we're kind of like
we're
letting.
not talking about tricolors.
No.
I'm just saying. I think like everything we're talking about as far as what you guys keep, like all the success that has, everything that's led up to success, any success you have now. Nobody is even considering all the sacrifices, like all the fucking things that didn't make it. Like Steven, you as much as big as your scrub collection is, you fucking dabbled with fucking imports. You dabbled with like taking in fucked up looking animals, right? Yeah. But you also
realize the heartbreak that comes with this too.
Yeah.
It's not all fun and games.
I'm just saying a lot of like as much as money. I mean, just say a lot of money spent is what I gotta say. On top of time and energy, Desiree, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I just feel like it matters, especially right now with what's happening with U.S. art. If you want to get into a certain species, you better fucking unite with somebody who's doing it right with that species, and don't fucking go do your own thing. And like
at the end of the day, it's a
like
mindset about it. It transcends really every single aspect of what we're doing. It's you can be talking about literally any reptile, it doesn't matter the conservation status. At the end of the day, I feel like I've said it on a number of podcasts a number of times. It's what's more important to your own image and the money, the business side of it, or the actual animals themselves. If you're on that, if you veer towards that first statement, there's no saving you, honestly.
I think one thing you all talked about, I don't mean to cut you off, Steve, but you talked about conservation being something that's abused nowadays. Like that term conservation, I feel like people it
can be. There's a fine line between true conservation and then using that word
to get
conservation to abolish you from your sins. Like, I purchased some wild caught abronia at a reptile show. I'm a conservationist.
That's like
shut the fuck
that's
up.
Like using the term rescued. I rescued it from PetSmart.
Exactly. It's like no.
You bought it.
You are part of the problem. You are just trying to justify it.
He's talking proper this whole time. Shut the fuck.
You aren't a conservationist. You're just impatient. That's what you are. So
get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck
I feel like what's fascinating is like I only really cared about conservation so much when you were working really close with the abronia and telling me how like this shit's getting smuggled in, and like just because you could see a abronia available on a Craigslist ad doesn't mean you should just buy that. You know what I mean? Or like,
well, and again, it's the mindset of it. Of what are we doing? Are we working to eliminate that need for the wild caught imports, legal or not? At the end of the day, all that matters is that these animals that were in the wild are now no longer in the wild. Or do we want to make a 50% profit margin off them at Repticon? Like, that getting into the legal aspect, that's a whole different discussion. I think that doesn't take away from the ethics and morals side of it, and just that whole like mindset of why we're doing this. I think we just try to preach that on here as much as we can. Hopefully it finds enough new ears. Unfortunately,
I've noticed though that the new ears, are really
soaking it in.
There are so many.
It's wonderful.
Which is amazing. We're getting so much interest in this hobby.
First, and then we're like, oh, god damn it. Then you have to convert them, because I'm not gonna lie. Here's the thing: no disrespect to nerd, but they have if you're a nerd fan, oh god, you're like hardcore, like you really fucking believe in them. But that's why we hold nerd accountable for so much shit, because you already have a platform where you have all these fucking people coming to you because you're setting the example. Like, you don't have a choice but to be under this fucking magnifying glass, and you signed up for it. Obviously, I mean, kind of you did. Same with Barcheck, same with fucking Prehistoric Death and all those other, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I said it. Don't like the guy.
And
he started it. I'm just fucking riding on
I did not
cushions.
say that. But I mean, but the truth is, the real unfortunate truth is, a lot of the most prominent figures in this game are truly the worst role models.
I mean,
they are the people who you should look at and say, I want to do the opposite of items 1 through 5 of what they're doing. Like, you know, when we first started getting into venomous snakes, in my mind, I'm like, I just love these animals. I care about them, but I think there needs to be a deeper reason why we do this other than, oh, look, cool rattlesnake. Like, for instance, you guys here, you have a public exhibition, education. What I wanted to do is kind of show the right way to do it. However we can to the audience we can reach of, we have like a hands-off approach. We set up these incredible display enclosures with the right lighting and heating cycle to kind of get them to, you know, have some natural behaviors and see, you know, snakes that you would assume to be ground dwellers. And we were talking about this today with the parviocular.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't look at an Ethiopian mountain viper and think that thing climbs. You let it climb and it freaking climbs.
Yeah.
Same with the Amphiglossus reticulatus. People don't realize that those diving skinks actually climb trees and stuff until we put them on exhibit like that.
Yeah. Or all those rattlesnakes. Yeah, a lot of our rattlesnakes love to climb.
Oh, sure. And like, you know, I think
Eastern.
a lot of the what people will see, especially if they're new to this, they go to YouTube, is some dude free handling and like, whoa, look at me, a rattlesnake. Like, and they think that's,
I mean, Ari,
venomous herpetoculture.
I want to know, where do you see, I mean, when you see something like that, I mean, you see, I mean, honestly, I at the end of the day, do your fucking thing, but no, I mean, like, anyone who's doing something like that is leading by example and saying, you should do this too.
It goes back to how I said earlier about how social media is a very powerful tool, but it also is a very dangerous tool.
Yeah,
double-edged sword.
It is very much so. It's a great tool for us to get our messages across, but depending on what that message is conveying, it can be very scary. And we have a lot of young sponge-filled minds coming up in this industry and this hobby that don't necessarily understand and haven't been around it long enough to be able to say, hey, might not be appropriate. This might not be the best way to do this. And they just simply don't know.
Yeah.
And that's
the unfortunate part.
And that's the very unfortunate part. And that's why we need to have so many positive outlets for people to be able to understand things correctly, understand how to do it right, understand the right people to deal with, the wrong people to stay away or the wrong people to stay away from. And that way we can have a positive, because it affects not just the animals we're maintaining, it also affects, you know, everything that we're doing. Like we keep going back to US ARC stuff. It keeps affecting how we're perceived by the general public as a bunch of wild, crazy snake people
like when you're
doing things like this.
You know, in your own home and not recording it and stuff. If you're learning
that's
behaviors,
a time of the past.
That's something.
Yeah.
But when you're showing everybody else that you're doing it, then these other people think that it's, you know,
if you want to look down the barrel of your gun at home, that's your business. But if you want to show it online, that brings up that makes it appear like, okay, that's great, I can do that too.
So Ari, I mean, I'm sitting between two people who work with fucking a big group of like different types of reptiles, right? So if it's one thing that's a big trend in the reptile community is somebody who gets into this game and gets one species, immediately wants the next one. You know, like, and that's okay. Like I said, the gateway drug, right?
Yeah.
But when should somebody really consider looking into that next species? Like, let's just say, like, you know, myself, I get into ball pythons, right? And then I'm like, fuck, I could get a chondro. But I just got a ball python. Like, I got into ball pythons like a week ago. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Like,
I guess it just
when is a good transition to really be like, I should add something else?
I don't know if there really is an identifying moment when you know. I mean, I think it's independent. It's based individually, obviously.
Yeah.
I would say the mindset to not have is, oh well, I see these ball pythons. I like them. I love the ball pythons too, but I'm interested in this. But let's just, you know, like when you feel that. I want to research green tree pythons, monitor lizards, but no, I'm just going to put my blinders on and go into my ball pythons. Like, why not just venture out that way? It doesn't mean you got to stray from what you're doing over here.
I mean, and also too, I've been interrupted, but it's like,
No.
I think also like, I mean, I said at first, like, we don't really know like a definitive moment, but I think you can realistically know the time when it's like, when you feel accustomed to venture into something else, like you're saying, like researching green true pythons or something like that, or monitor lizard stuff is when you're able to properly maintain what you currently have successfully. Yeah. Your animals are healthy. You have a routine that you're doing with your animals, and you feel like you're at a comfortable place.
You're mentally ready for something else.
Exactly. That you can then venture off into something else too.
I think another thing that is overlooked frequently is when you begin researching a species, you don't need to go out and buy it.
Yes, that's a thing. Yeah,
and just because you can buy it doesn't mean you should buy it.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it goes back to reaching out to people and asking for help.
Yeah,
just don't be afraid. I'm going to say it again. Just don't be afraid. Just ask.
Yeah,
and even if if it's the simplest question, you can judge a person by the way they're going to respond to you. I'm so flattered when somebody comes up to me and asks me how to take care of something, not knowing that I might not know how to take care of it. I've never worked with that species, but it's nice to know that they took the time to come up to ask and say, hey, how do I do this? Or do you have any ideas in that?
Sure. I think there's two sides to it. There's how to approach somebody as a new person, and then there is how to then give that information to somebody who has it. There's a lot of
and that's how we network and grow.
But I feel like there's a lot of gatekeeping within the reptile community.
Yeah.
I know with scrub pythons, it's a huge problem, honestly, of everyone putting these things on a pedestal and then putting themselves on this pedestal of, look at me, I'm a scrub python keeper. But then there's also on the flip side, a lot of people message me with one word, price. I'm like,
sorry.
Price? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's like, wow.
That's the quickest. That's the quickest way not to get a positive response.
Yeah, it's like the price of what? The cage in the video, my shoes.
Yeah. Well, they're probably expensive. They look very fancy.
And I will say,
I like these shoes, but but if you approach somebody humbly with a compliment, or just, hey, I appreciate the work you do. I want to know more about this. If it's somebody who it's worth your time to learn from, you're going to get a positive response. Maybe not like an instantaneous response, but
especially for me.
Well, that's a different story. But if you're a new person and you're humble in that understanding that you don't know anything yet, and how could you? You're new.
Yeah,
it's okay to fuck up.
Yeah,
it's okay to learn.
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
You don't have to know everything.
It is okay. It is okay to make mistakes. Or what do you want? The mic? Oh, okay, you're alcoholic. That's all right.
How the fuck would
I was gonna say. Yeah, it is. That is one of the ways we grow as keepers, as well as people too. Just with life, you have to make mistakes. That way, you can correct it, and you can alleviate having further mistakes on things. But things happen. We're dealing with live animals. Things happen.
Sure.
However, being able to be ready for that is the other thing, and that comes down with researching whatever you're doing beforehand to be able to address that. Especially with snakes and all that.
I've kept a lot of really weird out there snakes and stuff, and really it is all about finding who's successful with them and just asking, even if you don't know them, just try and reach out and be like, well,
don't be afraid.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is their husbandry that you've had success with?
There's not one person that knows all the answers. It doesn't work that way.
That's why I hate the word expert.
Yeah.
Because how are you really an expert? Something that's always changing.
Yeah.
These are that's the cool thing about this hobby is it's ever evolving.
Like, you're the closest thing, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep reaching around you.
So you're
the closest thing I know to an expert.
I'm not an expert.
But you still don't consider yourself an expert.
No.
Respect.
I feel like if you consider yourself an expert,
you're
just
done.
Shows how
little you are.
I mean, I guess ignorant would be the word.
You're so about yourself. It's ridiculous.
This hobby is it's ever evolved. You're always learning new things about these animals. You never know everything about them. You never know everything about what you're doing. You're always learning from them.
But the thing is, you should want to be in that it'd
be depressing
in that mindset of just wanting to learn.
Honestly, man, it's over now. Damn, I know everything about it. Whatever,
which it should be.
It's over now.
Fuck, now what do I do?
That's why this is so great. You're always learning,
but I feel like
keeps you young.
As much as a position that Ari's in, where he does deserve a clutch at this point.
That's true.
he's already like he's in a zen moment with these snakes that nobody could understand. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, like I said, I'd love to be able to produce it. It'd be great because then I would know my animals are perfect. They're doing everything they need.
Right.
But it's like I get contacted by people on a daily basis from all over the world, you know, with their Boeleni stuff, asking me questions. And if I can help, I help, you know. But it's like also too, like I have a good friend, like my friend Josh Hansen.
Shout out to Josh Hansen.
Yeah.
Came this close, no cigar though, but this close.
Oh, you will. And he's an incredible supporter of my research as well. And he calls me up. He's like, I got Boelen's eggs. So stoked.
And
I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And it was just like, he's like, oh, and it's like, I was like, what did you do? What did you do? Let's go back over your notes. And he sends me his entire list of everything. It's like, not like, oh, well, I don't know what I did. He sends everything. I get a contact, you know, by somebody else. Like, I think I've got eggs coming. It's like, you know, it's that communication. That's how we're going to move forward. It's like, you know, because it's like, I could be working with these things for the rest of my life and never produce, you know, and then somebody has the opportunity to work with them and they do it the first time.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
You never know.
It's incredible. That's how we do it. Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
I have to pee again. So
Go pee.
Go ahead and pee. Shit.
Yeah.
So okay, let's lead this back to as far as like, you know, Casper. Shout out to me, Casper.
Oh, Casper.
Casper, my boy.
Yeah, bra. It's
And-
Casper, bra.
I will say right now, Casper, you know, he has a strong stand on how he feels about, you know, animal keepers as a whole, right?
Yes,
And he has a strong stand on like, you know, too much hoarding's going on, you know.
Oh
like,
yeah, without a doubt.
right.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, a lot of that's kind of targeted towards. I'm just curious.
And they're also on like a whole other level too than we're at because they're regulated with so much over there now.
right.
So it's a very different scenario.
Yeah.
You know, they've got, you know, they don't have like we've got access to so much.
Right.
You know, and they've been real controlled now with what's going on the last few years.
I mean, I feel like control might be something. I hate to say this, but control might be something this country probably needs a little bit more. You know,
I think so.
It doesn't need this drastic fucking bullshit that's happening, but I mean, there needs to be a little bit more
self-regulation.
Yeah.
self-regulation.
Yeah.
I like the self-regulation.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like that.
Because at the end of the day, like the ones who are all making the laws don't really know shit about these animals. Like they don't. They're not. It's not an animal keeper. I wish an animal keeper could make these laws.
Yeah.
You know, it'd make a lot more sense. You know, I will say Garrett Hartle is somebody I've talked to, like who's worked within his own county, trying to do what he can to establish super doors being like away from the retics, the mainlands. Which, I mean, good luck on that. I don't know how that's going to work, but I'm just saying, like, there's just so much shit that needs to be passed down. What was I going before that?
I don't know.
You said Casper, and then you went.
Oh yeah, Casper. We talked about
Yes.
Casper.
Okay.
Yeah.
The hoarding thing, right? I mean, there's obviously things that are happening within the U.S., not only just in the reptile game, but like any kind of animal trade where hoarding's a fucking problem. But theoretically, if you are producing something and you're successful with it, how should you be letting that go? Like,
It depends what it is. I feel like.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
let's
I
talk
think the
about, like,
situation. It really,
we already touched on with the Boelens and the
Yeah.
scrubs, but like, for instance, like ball pythons, the way ball pythons are produced, right? Even though it's a safe animal, there are people out there who sit on fucking thousands and thousands of ball pythons. Is that necessarily a bad thing?
I mean,
I don't know.
good question.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. I mean, I look at it this way.
I should say that for Casper when we go to Amsterdam.
There you go.
That would go off, yeah.
That'd be hard.
Like, okay, so like I look at it this way, like obviously like thousands. I mean, it's crazy. But if the animals are healthy, in my opinion, if the animals are getting everything that they need, they're being cared for as though they're, you know, every single one matters. You know, I feel like it's in a situation it can be different. I mean, I don't want 1,000 animals. There's a lot of mouths to feed. You know, but you know, it's like, but I think it really depends on the situation and the individual.
Yeah, the species definitely like you know, comparing numbers of ball pythons or small colubrids to reticulated pythons and water monitors. You know, 1,000 ball pythons and 1,000 retics is
Very
a vastly different situation.
How big of a problem do you guys feel like the importation is on the ways animals are kept? How much of the import part of that do you think is a problem?
I think it's back to that mindset thing of we just assume that these imports will always be there. Like maybe what if in 15 years you can't find a Nile monitor in the country?
Yeah.
When
you're being sold for like $40 right now.
When tens of
Top
thousands.
Top shelf $40 Nile monitor.
Now, which is honestly my first monitor was a Nile monitor.
And Nile monitors are awesome.
I fell in love with that at a pet shop. I had no idea the marketing or anything. I was like $60. I lost my mind.
And that's a lizard that will sadly disappear in the pet trade.
I almost let it go. Unfortunately,
were you in Florida?
No, I'm in San Diego, and Andrew's like, "You better, dude." Back there I was ignorant. I was just really like, "Dude, this thing is fucking loped out and wants to kill me." I was like, "I'm better off letting this thing go." And Andrew's like, "You better not fucking do that." That's the first time Andrew ever got serious with me, and that's why I was like, "Okay," like it kind of. But I mean, respect to Andrew because I was, like I said, I was ignorant. If I didn't have a homie like Andrew, I probably wouldn't trip if that Nile would have got loose. Yeah. Oh well, but dude, that's a huge problem. Like that fucking lizard could somehow maybe make it to a point where it's an adult and it's fucking swooping up cats like a motherfucker. Yeah. And it's just on someone's roof. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying.
That's quite the scenario.
I'm just saying.
I like that.
It's not rolls around in some toxic waste.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. All I'm trying to say, I had an 8-foot
glowing
eyes. A couple of cats gone. Nobody needs to know that.
They're cats, yeah.
See at the top.
See at the top.
Anyways, okay, guys. I'm just saying, listen, at the end of the day, man, shit's hitting the fan right now, law-wise. Shout out to US Ark. Shout out to Phil Goss. Shout out to anyone supporting US Ark. If you do not support US Ark and you keep reptiles, you have personal issues. That's more of something
you need to look into US Ark and you need to get involved. That is the only way we are going to keep doing what we're doing.
But why? Because that's the only fucking people fighting for us right now.
Well, here's something I'll say. You brought up, like, it'd be great if a reptile person could write these laws,
right,
or something like along those lines. This is literally
what Phil does.
This is what this is. Like, Phil is a reptile person. He breeds boas. Like, he's in it the same way the rest of us are. If we want to have that voice, this is our voice. US Ark is our voice. And, we can talk about it all we want, but if everybody who is out there saying we support US Ark got the lowest tier membership, we would be in such incredible shape.
You can get you can pay $25 a month.
You can pay like $2 a
month.
But just shift your reptiles. Just leave that box checked.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is the big one, though. Yeah. It's the number of memberships that really matters, because when they're going, when the lobbying process begins, it's the amount of members of the organization that will get these lawmakers actually to pay attention, because they don't know shit about reptiles. It's not their job to know about what we're doing. It's their job to know how to make laws, which oftentimes they're really freaking bad at. Different discussion, but it's not their job to understand the issues. They listen to the people that are in their ear, and then they make their political maneuvering and whatnot. But if that voice in their ear is our voice, that's a lot better than it being the voice of the animal rights groups and the people that are trying to take us down. In a household, if it's a family with 2 kids, instead of 1 membership, have 4 for a quarter of the amount that you would have with your single membership. It really sounds kind of petty, but it's not.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you're new to the hobby and you go to a show and you buy yourself a bearded dragon or a ball python or a crested gecko or anything, have your parents get you a membership to US Ark also.
And think
you
about
get
like
a T-shirt.
This.
You get to support the hobby.
You could think of a US Ark membership almost like car insurance.
Yeah.
You can't drive. Well, you can drive without car insurance.
And let me tell you about a piece of shit who fucking hit somebody without insurance or really piece of shit insurance. You're a fucking piece of shit for doing that. I'm sorry, but me and my boy Andrew, I love you, man. We still need our settlement money. I ain't fucking around. Settlement. I don't care about the money. I'm happy we're here, bro. But still, that's a good point.
If we think about it, like US Ark is the car insurance of reptile keepers, and is a whole lot less expensive than car insurance. Compare like the value of some of the collections that people out here are working with who probably don't give a shit about US Ark. Some of these larger breeders that are in it for the money.
How about the largest? One of the most front fucking faces in this industry has not made one post about US Ark. Not one fucking thing about you as art. Why? You're a fucking Petco. You're a fucking PetSmart. You don't give a fuck about anything. And and honestly, the reason why I'm touching on this is because people I do respect fucking support somebody like that. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna start respecting people like that. Because if you fucking support someone who's a piece of shit, and just because he's just somebody who's in your era or part of your fucking time, somebody needs to speak up and say, hey, you need to fucking check yourself. That's all I'm saying, because nobody's checking nobody.
Well, and that's, there's been that whole talk of like the infighting needs to stop. We need to unify as a whole, but that can't come at the expense of letting the bad one slide.
Nothing slides.
Oh, we've been talking about that a lot recently.
Yeah, I mean, there's a time and place for both discussions of herpetoculture as a whole versus PETA, animal rights, whatever you want to call that, where it shouldn't be retic people versus ball python people versus monitor people.
Like, what they don't understand is that a lot of these private breeders, they're not just doing it for fun. They're actually helping bring back certain species. Like zoos, even private, they're legitimately keeping these animals alive. Not all of these things can survive in the wild right now because of,
because of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Habitat loss
and people don't understand
deforestation.
That. Like, release it in the wild, but sometimes they don't have those places to go back to. We're the only things keeping them alive.
Yeah. And there's emphasis on these large facilities that have these large followings. That was so weird.
That was really weird.
I can't let that one go.
Yeah. It's just Phil Collins.
But honestly, I mean, we're at a point where we'll do it in our own setting, but we can't let some of these people slide anymore. That it's not like they won't get away with it. They'll keep their platform, they'll keep their audience, but the knowledge at least has to be out there of like, this is not the way. You're just looking at somebody who has grown an audience based on showing these behaviors that get views.
I want to make a good point. You have your shoe? Give me your shoe real quick, please, because I like these shoes. I'm going to make a good point. Here's check this out.
Interesting.
I mean, listen, I don't want to be fucking Mr. Hype Man or what is the hype beast, but I'm a big fan of Yeezys. Yeezys are.
That's my kid's
That
story.
Oh my god!
You think it's like a harpy?
Dying.
I thought it was
I
a
thought
harpy.
something was
Harpy.
I'm a couple chocolates deep, so I was like,
Oh yeah.
So, anyways, okay, listen, but real shit. I'm not a shoe guy, but I am a shoe guy because of Yeezys, and I'm just making this example. It's a beautiful fucking shoe. Okay, if you are into shoes, you know that this is a beautiful shoe. But you know what happens to this shoe when it's smothered in shit? It becomes shit. So
You know what happens when you plant shit seeds?
Yeah, shit weeds.
Thank you. So as beautiful as I think of something, as soon as you keep stepping in shit and stepping in shit and stepping in shit, you become shit. You can have your shoes, sir.
Oh, thanks.
That was my example. So
look how little shit there is.
I'm just saying, but hey, no, but hold on. No, hold on.
Okay, no shoes.
Let's just say Steven's very careful where he steps. He fucking somehow got shit smothered in this shoe. Steven would never wear this shoe again. Drop the mic. That's all I gotta say.
I don't really know what that.
I don't know,
but I respect the intensity and what you were trying to convey.
But I did okay. Other than the last part, I did make sense though, right?
I love you.
I gave up on my mission. I was gonna get the Nat Geo fans.
But no, okay. Listen, there's a saying that fucking everyone hears it. You are who you hang around with, but you are who you support.
Yeah.
If you fucking support somebody who's killing this industry. But but behind the fucking camera, I don't know what he's doing. That guy. Have you seen this? But I've had people giving me heads up about this one person's fucking what he has. But then yet they still support him. They still put him on their social media. This is my buddy. Fucking, I don't want to say his name so bad, but I just don't want to say it. But either way, I'm just saying, like, why support shit, dude? Guys, stop. I'm fucking being dead serious right now. Why do big people in this fucking industry support the ones who are making the biggest stain mark on this fucking industry? It makes me so mad because they have the power to fucking come together and say, hey, listen, you're a fucking piece of shit and you need to stop. But they're fucking letting this shit slide.
Because they don't, I mean.
And it's fucked up.
They don't care enough.
It's all about what they can personally get versus what
They
works
need
for
that
everyone.
they need that collab video that's going to get them 20% more views than their normal videos.
So then don't even fucking say you support US Arc then. Don't be a fucking fake. Because that pisses me off. And I'm sick of it.
And this is that weird state that we're in of as a whole, do we utilize these larger platforms that across the board we disagree with to pump out this message, get it to more people, or do we kind of regulate that, call them out, but potentially lose that audience? I don't know what the answer is.
I'm at a point where I'm friends with people who it's hard to stay friends with at this point because they're only showing me what they're really fucking about, and that's a dollar sign. That's their fucking views. That's their likes. And if that's what you're about, then then like I said, don't fucking say you're gonna support USR. Don't fucking put this persona on. You're not fucking really here to help us.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, just because, listen, I'm a sensationist too, and I better be quiet. No, fuck that. Someone needs to check this motherfucker because he's a piece of shit. And I'm just saying, listen, at the end of the day, US Arc is doing everything they can. And we have this one guy being put on World Star, being put on all these fucking platforms, being the biggest piece of shit in this fucking hobby. And you go to this guy's platform right now, Prehistoric fucking Death. I don't give a fuck. Go to his platform. Show me one piece of US Arc, fucking anything US Arc on that guy's page. Anyways, I'm over it. No, I'm not. But you know what I mean. Continue forward because
this is self-regulation, and it is beautiful, and we love to see it.
Self-regulation. I
Fuck
just self-regulated.
pets.
Right, for sure. Self-regulation. I just hella self-regulated. I feel good. I feel fucking good. Damn. I feel like I hope I don't get malaria or anything after that. I feel like I just fucking saw Boelens hatch in the wild. No, At the end of the day, like it is definitely kind of weird and fucked up that we are facing something like this Lacey Act. Like the fact that here we are at a point where birds, fish, and our reptiles, amphibians. Thank you, Matthew. But seriously, this shit is up for skate right now. Are you kidding me right now?
It's scary.
It's scary, but it's dude, this shit's happening.
And it's just a lack of control over our future.
Yeah.
Obviously, anytime that you are looking at government, especially on a federal level, with a large bill like this, it's a very long process. It's very intricate and more detailed than any of us could know or take the time to describe right now. But what it shows is the more that this type of stuff comes up, the more we just have a lack of control over our future. And we're at the whims of decision makers that are misinformed. And it is not really their fault that they're misinformed. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's almost our fault that they're misinformed because we are not the voice.
We're not putting out content that is making them understand it in the light that we see it.
I'm gonna shout. Who's Old Crow? I feel like you know this person. Who's Old Crow? Who's this? I feel like this person, Old Crow. I feel like he's connected to you. But I will shout Old Crow because listen, stick to your fucking integrity. At the end of the day, when the camera's on, how are you really doing shit? When those fucking when record's not being pressed, how are those animals really being kept? How are you really dealing with your shit when the cameras aren't on? Yeah. And guess what? I've seen what that shit's like without the cameras being rolled. Yeah. Fuck that. Yeah. You can keep all that fucking RI shit. I'm good. I don't want it. It's sad. It's fucked up. The biggest reason why I sold all my fucking mainland retics is because of my visit at Prehistoric Death. Dead ass fucking serious. That was the guy who instilled in my mind that I should not be keeping mainland retics because I don't want to be a piece of shit like that.
I like retics.
I love retics. Are you kidding me? Retics are a fucking. Here's the thing: a retic should be on the same level as a fucking Boelens.
It should.
Dude, a retic is so interesting, bro.
I'll tell you what.
So Andrew Acevedo, sit down right now. Andrew Acevedo.
I gotta go take a piss while Andrew sits here.
Andrew, right now.
You're up, pal.
Andrew Acevedo.
Mr. Retic, bro. He's all tuckered out. But here we are.
Getting cozy. Let's talk about retics real quick. Andrew, you're somebody. Andrew, do you remember? Guys, stop. I'm so sorry. I love you guys. I'm trying to concentrate. Do you remember when I used to come to you and send you pictures? I had a golden child, and I used to call it a super dwarf.
Yeah.
And you're like,
It's like there's
buddy,
Cute.
that's not a super. But how many things that I thought I had was a super dwarf and was not a super dwarf?
misrepresentation within these animals. Well, specifically with locality-specific crosses is a huge issue, and a lot of people do it for monetary value. But it's super unfortunate because these animals are incredible, whether if they're mainland or super dwarf reticulated pythons. But within itself, as a locality cross standpoint, these animals are easily misinterpreted, and just it's super unfortunate because people do it again for a monetary standpoint, and these animals live a very long time and have the capability to hurt you. And yeah, it's something that just not everyone is fully equipped to, on a general public standpoint, should just have any access to.
But as far as like the way the name, the name retic has in this country has been something that's been destroyed in a sense, meaning like retics are
I think it's how you view it. I think.
Well, I mean, as far as like, let's think about it right now. Like retics cannot be kept by the most is by the average person. A mainland retic is not meant for the average. Like, you know, like
the average keeper. Yeah, I mean, the average beginner keeper should not be keeping them. I mean, as most reptiles within the hobby, you know, I mean,
you're saying most reptiles should be
kept.
I mean,
no.
Actually, that's true.
Beginner standpoint. Just there's a lot of animals that aren't given the necessary requirements in a captive standpoint by beginner keepers. Just because the information isn't out. I mean, it is out there, but not everyone's also giving proper information.
So when we going to Indo?
Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Because I will say these are the two. If I ever do go to Indonesia, it's going to be with these two right here. And Ari.
Wow.
After Ari's obviously on the plane.
That's our honeymoon.
Well, I'm sure we're going to beat you guys there. We're going to get coordinates. You know what I mean? 110%. No, but listen, Andrew, at the end of the day, as much as like the reason why I felt like I should sit you down is my passion and energy behind how I feel with retics are mainly because I learned everything about retics off you, bro. Like, you understand, like, I had these monsters that you gave me heads up on. I remember coming to you when I had these retics when they were a couple years old, and you're like, bro, in a couple more years, you better have room for this shit. And sure enough, I had 12 of these beyond 8 feet, and I was like, holy shit. And shit hit
It's a lot of snake, yeah. I mean,
it's a lot. But people don't understand that until it happens.
It's very easy to get babies, and it's very easy to end up with 1 and then 30, and then you realize like, oh, I have all these babies, and then in 6-7 months, especially mainland animals, that some of these babies are coming out of the egg at 2 foot and, you know, eating small rats, you know. So it's something that on a long-term standpoint isn't for everyone, and people's ideas and ambitions with these animals fade out longer than the animal's lifespan.
All right, I don't want to get too wrapped up on this topic, but I am curious. Anyone who's out there that is working with retics, especially mainlands, what is your advice to them right now? Like, well, I mean, especially with US ARC, shit possibly could hit the fan where you cannot even have these motherfuckers. What are you going to do with all these retics? But either way, I'm just saying, anyone out there working with mainlands or having, you know, dreams of, you know, working with clutches of morphs with mainlands, what is your suggestion with them?
I think anyone working with these snakes at this point should be doing it just for the love of the animal and nothing else. I mean, if we do lose our right to keep them, you're just keeping them for yourself and nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, because, well, to clarify, with this legislation, you're not losing your right to keep them. You're losing the right to transport them across state lines, which effectively would take the retail market and probably cut it down by about 80-90%, because then you're just limited to in-state. If you're in a state like here in Texas, California, in any larger state or a larger market, could you sustain something? You know, maybe. If you live in, you know, freaking Rhode Island or whatever, good luck selling your clutch of retics.
I don't think you can have them in Rhode Island.
A state
Just
of
saying.
equivalent size of Rhode Island.
But theoretically, shout to the fucking Iowa homies, but there's fucking counties within Iowa where you can't even keep ball pythons. So,
yeah, but there's always local legislation and
Did
weirdness
you not
like
know that? I didn't know that.
No.
I didn't fucking know that either.
But to be fair, where I lived in Michigan, there was like, or no, it was Virginia. There was like one area where you could have retics and all these large snakes.
Can you come back,
And then
please? Thank you.
very, very close
Harry.
by, you couldn't have them. It was very strange.
Andre Acevedo, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you later.
Go to the restroom.
No, he's done. He's segment's done.
He's too much for me.
He's tuckered
I'll
out.
PayPal you later, buddy. Thank you.
I'll pay value later. Wait, where's mine?
What?
Oh,
Hold on. I thought I was gonna DJ your wedding.
I'm
That
a
was fucking-
professional.
Okay, so listen, US Arc. Obviously, I wanted to save the meat and potatoes about US Arc towards the end of the episode, just because this is. I hate how trendy US Arc is right now because it needs to be, but. At the end of the day, everyone should be supporting US Arc. Like this,
I agree.
I mean,
100%.
we shouldn't have to be so desperate to ask for unity the way we're doing it right now.
Yeah.
Especially from the upper people. You know what I mean? The like, you know, because if it's one thing that helps us is somebody who could reach out to millions of people who have no idea about reptiles and fucking letting them know what the fuck US Arc is.
Yeah.
How we have this one fucking person, Phil Goss, who could literally write laws for us to keep our animals.
Yeah.
To keep fucking animals. Like, you mean like, wait, like, yeah, keep our animals. It's like, I mean, to me, I'm in my mid 30s. I don't have kids. These animals are my fucking kids. And I'm speaking straight up to any other fucking mid fucking 30-year-old out there who has animals and has no kids. These are your motherfucking kids. And you know that. I want kids, babe. You listen to me? But just saying, man, at the end of the day, like, I do feel like good luck trying to take something that means so much to me. Because at the end of the day, if it does, America's starting a war with itself. You fucking you fuck with America's reptiles and their guns, we go into war, motherfuckers. And I'm not, I'm just saying, God, YouTube's probably gonna take me down after that. I'm not threatening shit. I'm just speaking facts, YouTube.
It's not a threat, it's the truth.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm not gonna do anything. But listen, at the end of the day, man, Ari, you are somebody who I value. And I hate to say it, but I only really started valuing because the way Forrest used to talk about you.
Appreciate
And
it.
honestly, that's why I value Kush so much. That's why I value Desiree so much. Andrew, like understand Forrest connected to me to all you guys here. And that's because I listened to him talk. You know what I mean? And whenever Forrest had a fucking anybody to rant about, it's somebody who was on his mind, somebody that he was thinking about.
Mhm.
And I listened to. So at the end of the day, huge piece to me. And what I have going on, I have fucking my hair standing up.
Oh.
I'm just saying, what I have going on in my life is mainly inspired with the shit that you're doing. Okay, because you're in a position right now that this is a dream come true for you, man.
We're making something,
and it's in the making.
We want it to be something special for everybody to enjoy. We want that. We want to be able to convey our passions, everything about having animals, as well as being able to offer that scientific aspect of it as well too to people who want to learn.
We want those kids to feel like we did as kids.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we want that. We want people to enjoy reptiles, herpiculture, and herpetology. That's what we're trying to do here.
And I always tell this, if you're working with reptiles and you're not enjoying it, then you need to fucking reevaluate what you're doing. Like, you should step back and be like, am I doing too much? Like, is my workload way more than my passion right now?
Yeah.
And
that's the thing. At the end of the day, like, this is not the best way to make money.
It's not about the money, man.
I'm saying, like, if that's where your mind's at, then I think you really just need a serious reset. Go invest in some freaking real estate or some shit like that. I don't know. So
there's other ways to make money. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
This ain't a quick steam. Like, it's not what you do.
And that's why we have the animals that we do. Is that's not the top priority. Obviously, if it's something that can support itself, make money, support having people to help, take care of the animals and whatnot, that's wonderful. If the well-being of the animals is always that top priority, hey, make as much money as you can. But as soon as you start to compromise your integrity, everything you've done, in my opinion, just gets thrown out the window, and you're just as bad as the people that MJ has been talking so much crap about.
Is Andrew okay over there? I think Andrew just collapsed.
He's just tuckered out.
And listen, guys, at the end of the day, like, dude, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Obviously, if you guys follow me, you guys know if I'm super worked up and passionate. It's been a long time since I went off on anyone like that, just so you know. I kind of feel like I've deserved that moment. But what better time? You know what I mean? Because we're in a time of unity. We're in a time where we all need to come together. And if you're not on this ship, then what the fuck are you doing? If you're not together with what we're doing, then what is it that you're doing? What is your motive? Like, what is your goal? So that's all I wanted to say on that, man. Thank you so much for this episode.
Dude,
We have hot seat questions though, and the cool thing about these hot seat questions, you guys are going to answer them together.
Oh,
Okay?
sweet.
So I want to see what's happening.
I can dip out.
Yeah, you can dip out for hot seat questions. I mean, you can hang out if you want. I'm just saying you don't need to answer. But hot seat, yeah. So hot seat questions, okay, guys. If you could do me a favor, I don't need an explanation. Just give me the answer. And I understand if you have to explain something. If you really feel in the bottom of your heart, I need to explain this and do it. But it doesn't make you look cool when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that cool anyway.
No, knock it off. You're very cool. Okay, you're fucking. You make Skrillex's haircut look cool again. That's all I gotta say. All right, hot seat questions coming in hot. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. Frozen thought or live?
Frozen thought.
You got to speak too, dude.
Well, yeah,
Jesus.
frozen thought.
Frozen thought. Okay, but it's like say you can't.
Well, it depends. It depends.
No. If Jesus himself came, we're in Texas. I know we're in God's country.
Frozen thought.
You got to pick. You got to pick one or the other. What would you pick?
Frozen thought.
Okay, 8 cut or no cut?
What?
8 cut or no cut? Would you cut an egg or would you not cut an egg?
Oh, don't cut.
Don't cut.
What?
Girl,
if you're gonna cut an egg open,
or
if you're gonna let it hatch.
No
you don't have a lot of ball python friends, huh?
Yeah.
It's all good. God bless you.
Let it hatch.
Let it hatch. Okay, all right.
Let it ride.
Red chondro neo or yellow chondro neo?
Ooh, red.
Red. Yeah.
Pre first shed meal or post first shed meal?
Pre.
Ooh, gangster.
Yeah,
Pre.
Pre?
Yeah.
Are you just telling off her?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's because I'm the one. I'm smart.
Okay. Yay imports or boo imports?
Ooh, wow.
Somebody say something.
It really
quick.
depends on if it's being bred.
I feel like okay. So
Yeah.
You had the call to say yes or no.
That's my explain,
Yeah.
but I get a free explain part.
You get one.
So I feel the certain situation. Yay.
Yeah, right.
You've got to start from somewhere.
But if you say yay
That's how
to
certain
whatever,
things work.
so you're saying yay to anything being imported, by the way.
Oh man, that is such a tough question to ask.
Especially right now.
That's a very,
Are
very
these
good
people asking
question.
these or is this you?
This is my hot seat question.
Yeah.
No, I'm not fuck the people, but fuck the people. These are my hot seat questions. You know what I'm saying?
That's a tough question, I would
Good
say.
questions, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, normally I don't suck people this much, but I'm asking somebody who you're taking deep thought into this because
Yeah, that's a tough one.
you know. But yeah, I need to know.
Yeah. I'd say import.
Yay imports.
Gotta start somewhere.
Guys,
Yeah.
is that a yay? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. To miss the reptile or to not miss the reptile, spray wise, like physically spray.
Missed.
Missed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yay sports or boo sports?
Who sports?
Sports? Like in general?
Man, I ain't got time for sports.
Yeah, screw sports. I don't know anything about sports.
Yay alcohol or boo alcohol?
Yay, alcohol.
Yeah,
Steak or fish?
so-
Ooh, fish.
what-
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's that Chakura shit type. You know what I'm saying?
I'd say fish, but if a steak is really prepared,
Girl, you're messing this up.
Yeah,
It's either
it's
steak
not
or
like
fish.
if it's a yes or no.
fish.
So the best cut steak in the world, you're gonna say fish over steak.
Okay, but I thought we were talking about average versus average.
Yeah, but
No,
you're also
we're talking the
comparing
best of
fish.
the best. We're talking about
Okay.
Well, what
the-
kind of fish?
Best?
the halibut. I mean, halibut's the best in my world.
Tilapia?
Oh my God! Don't ever say that again. Okay, let's get this out. Let's get this out. Okay, what's the number one fish in your book? If you could have the cream of la creme fish,
I don't
to
know.
me, I feel like bluefin would be it.
I don't know.
Wow.
Bluefin
I'm
bass.
just gonna
Did
go
you
fish.
say bass?
I'm too poor to know how.
I'm so glad Matthew
Okay,
Summers
like,
is not mic'd up right
great
now.
fish.
What did you
I go
say?
fish.
I'm like all crawdaddies and stuff.
We're fucking up right now. So,
Crawfish
Yes.
broil.
so you're clearly steak based
Yeah.
off what I'm hearing. Van Halen or Sammy Hagar?
Van Halen.
Yes. You don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about.
No, yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
okay,
so-
geez, easy.
I am a music person.
Okay.
Okay.
Sammy or Van?
I guess Van.
All right, cool. Nirvana or Sublime?
Oh, yeah, Sublime.
Metallica or ACDC?
Metallica.
Metallica.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
That's what I'm
Megadeth-
talking
but
about.
Megadeth over Metallica. Sorry, just saying.
Slipknot or Megadeth?
Megadeth.
Slipknot, motherfuckers.
No.
We're back until we talk.
No.
Yes.
No. Megadeth.
Slayer or Megadeth?
Oh, yeah.
Right. I'm trying to fuck
Slayer.
Cover.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Red and blood.
West Coast rap or East Coast rap?
East Coast.
Yeah, East Coast.
Favorite East Coast rapper?
Biggie.
Woo! It was all a dream.
No. Yeah, Biggie.
Biggie.
All right, cool. Little word association. First thing to come to mind. Milk.
Nipple.
Yes.
Titties.
Yeah.
Yeah, titties. I
Egg box.
don't know. What?
Box. Sims.
Yes. Sim container.
Oh, yeah.
Substrate.
Fucking cocoa with Max.
All right, you
Magnum
too.
and-
Hello.
and
Just
fucking-
wait.
I'm too drunk for this.
Coco.
Yeah, cocoa
That's what I
with
thought of.
cocoa with.
Stuck shed.
Soak it.
Yeah.
Ovulation.
TikTok.
Ovulation.
Depends on the what?
Ovulation.
Say it at the top.
It's not mine.
Day. Prove it.
Yeah. You are not the
Fine.
Day 60.
Sweating.
Sweating. Instagram trolls.
Ignore those bitches.
Yeah.
What? The hell
I have
is
no
going
idea.
on?
I
Stay with it, girl.
I don't have no idea.
I'm trying.
If
so
you had to get rid of one style restaurant, would it be?
Chili's.
No, hold on.
Red Robin.
If you had to eliminate one style restaurant in Texas itself, would it be a pizza joint or Tex-Mex?
Tex-Mex.
Text-Mex.
Yeah!
Out of here.
Text-Mex.
Fuck out of here! I'm just kidding. I'm so sorry. There's so many Tex-Mex fanatics out there.
Pizza.
I can't.
You can't say no to pizza.
Yeah.
Guys, you survived the hot seat questions. Congratulations.
Yay.
Dude, listen, guys, we had about over 70 people in this live this entire time. What do you have to say to all your supporters out there?
Thank you guys.
Everyone who's rooting for you, like, go ahead and let's.
Thank you guys so much. It's
Couldn't
just
be
been
doing
fun,
it without you guys.
Yeah.
For sure.
We're so excited. And please come out. When we're open, come out and just enjoy it. Take it in and enjoy it. That's what we're here for.
And best way to get updates, best way for them to follow what's going on would be where.
Ryu takes care of all the social media stuff.
Yeah, so Instagram is Reptilandia_zoo.
Okay.
And same with the Facebook.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever have plans on maybe doing just because of what you have is like so awesome? Do you ever have plans of doing some YouTube stuff at all?
That'd be
Or, like,
awesome. Yeah.
I'd love to.
Yeah. We'd love to do something
Probably
like that. Be
when
cool.
things are more moving along.
Yeah.
Cool. So, but as of right now, the best thing that people can do to stay on top of the updates with the zoo is Instagram, right?
Instagram and Facebook.
Cool. Cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for tapping in. I appreciate you guys so much. Before we end this remote podcast, thank you so much, Stephen Cush.
Yes, thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Desiree, for Stephen Cush.
Yep.
And Matthew Summers. I appreciate all you guys. And, again, thank you so much to the man himself, Justin Kabelka, or fucking. Oh, and God bless. Yeah, God is everything. Why
The
don't you-
man upstairs.
The man upstairs.
But honestly, this episode was brought to you by Justin Kabelka of KINOVA. Justin, thank you so much for
Thank you,
your
Justin.
support. Thank you for everything that you do, man.
I'll
'Cause-
research you now.
If it's somebody out there leading by example, what'd she just say?
I'll research you now.
Oh my God, you're brutal. And
Sorry.
respectful. Honestly, I guarantee.
Oh,
No, I guarantee Justin laughed at that. And that's, dude, Justin knows real humor. That was funny. I'm not gonna lie. But at the end of the day, if it's somebody out there who has a wide audience of people looking at him and leading by example, it's my man, Justin Kabelka. So thank you so much, Justin. I appreciate everything. You know what's funny is I asked all my sponsors, is there anything you guys want me to say specifically about what's going on with you or anything you guys want me to shout out? And Justin said, all I care about is you mentioning U.S. Art. Just please bring up U.S. Art.
Yeah.
So Justin, I hope that was, I'm sorry about my rants.
No, you're not.
I'm not, but dude,
It's
this is
okay,
my
Robin.
Justin's not ghetto. I'm sorry, but he's
I
not.
know.
I'm ghetto. You know what I mean?
But
you know what-
Right outside of Detroit.
Oh, yes. Guys, before I get ahead of myself, if you put a super chat in this freaking goddamn episode, we're going to do a giveaway. Get your daughter right now.
Wake her up. Wake her
All
up.
right, so here we go, guys. This is your last chance right now to get your super chats in right now because his daughter is going to randomly pick somebody who did a super chat. You're supposed to take a list of all of them. Okay, hold on. Hold on. We got this. This is going to be brutal.
See it?
Yeah.
Okay, we got this. We see it at the top.
Brutal.
So yeah, right now you better get your fucking super chats in because I'm saying she's about to come. Listen, God bless her heart. She knows nobody in this industry, so this is like straight non-biased.
Here comes a dog.
Here she comes.
Oh,
There's
God.
Lucy. Oh gosh. Oh God, hold your drinks.
Hold your drinks.
Huh?
It's like the Reptile episode.
Dog's out. Everybody's out. Here, go over there, sweetie. You're gonna knock everything over.
All right, we're gonna end this episode with a giveaway.
Giveaway.
Where's she at? There
Here she
is.
comes. Yeah. Here you go, sweetie. All right, come here, sweetie. All right, get her right in here between me and MJ.
So I'm gonna show you the names of the people who have donated, right? And I want you to be like, "Fuck it, that's the person." Okay. So I don't really have a like we're gonna have to scroll through it. So let's just say, like, for instance, like, so here we have Jason Holbrook. Shout out to Louis Jason Holbrook. He actually donated a lot, just so you know. That's the homie. I'm just trying to say. Let's see. Oh my God, hold on. There's more. Oh, Hannah Banana, Hannah Hatsfield, Hannah from Texas, Flex in Texas, right there. So you have Hannah Banana. You have Pacific Rim Serpents in the building. Oh my God, Arthez in the. That's a sick name. Arthez in the building. Let's see who else is in this build. Damn, another one from Jason. Damn, Jason's throwing mad bills for this book right now. This is crazy. Let's see. Alex Oliver. Ooh, 50 boodles from Alex Oliver. You got Alex Oliver in the building right there. Who else we got? Let's see. Ooh, we got Lisa. Ooh, Lisa. Who's Lisa? Dude, can I say that name? Fahrenheit? Damn. Are you Persian or Chaldean?
Farina?
That's a sick ass name. And Derek Pides right there. So let's look at this one more time. Derek Pides, Lisa. And then we have the desperate homie Jason. Where's he at? He must have done like, I don't know how many, but then you have Alex, Jason. I mean, God bless you. I mean, I know this isn't like, we're not, then we have Pacific. Who are you feeling?
First option.
First option,
Mm-hmm.
which was Jason?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jason! That was not premeditated. She just went off the limb right there. So I appreciate you so much.
Good job.
Hey,
Hey, go back to
wait.
bed. You got school in the morning.
Hang on. You're one of the coolest kids I've ever known.
Thank you.
High
For
five.
real. No, for real.
Now go to bed.
Yeah, go to bed. You got school in the morning. Thank you, sweetheart.
Amazing stuff, man. I will say, okay, I tell this to Ari, but the biggest thing after Forrest like schooled me on Ari and who Ari was, I offered a friendship on My friend requested you on Facebook, you accepted, and then as soon as I did, you posted that video, the predator video of you and your daughter holding hands. And honestly, bro, at the end of the day, the memories I hold on to the most was with my dad. Yeah. Me and my dad, bro, that's my boy, bro. That's my best friend, you know? And so I do know someday, hopefully, that I will relive moments like that I have with my dad. So seeing stuff like that with you and your daughter, and to actually see your daughter now, she's a teenager, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
she's
God bless her, you know
I
what
can't
I'm saying?
wait for you to have kids, man. You're gonna
day by day, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, what's crazy is as much research as you've done, as much loyalty as you have to your animals, you're an amazing father. On top of everything else.
That means a lot.
So respect to you, respect to your beautiful fiance here, which you guys have a date, right? When's the wedding?
August 20th.
August 20th.
Yep. So sorry, Daytona, I just canceled.
And Keith, I'm angry that you're not going to be there because you're going to be at Daytona.
Keith, I have.
But I love you.
I have hotels booked. I have everything booked. I even have my badges ready to go from the homie Josh Jensen, and I'm canceling. Sorry, Josh. I'm going to be at this wedding. I'm not leaving it. But guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for tapping in. I appreciate you guys so much. Guys, real quick, please do me a favor. Hit the like button. I didn't ask you guys to hit the like button the whole entire episode. So for Lucy, hit the like button for Lucy. She's about to knock over about $1,200 worth of equipment. And I don't even care right now because it's all about the animals. It's all about the animals. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tapping in. Real quick, I will be dropping a vlog this Saturday. Guys, I cannot stress, not even stress, but just be excited for the vlog I'm about to drop this Saturday, which is going to reveal all the hard work that they're doing so far. Not finished yet. You guys are just seeing behind the scenes type shit. So you guys enjoy. I appreciate you guys so much. Again, Justin Kabelka, you're the man. All my trappers, you're the man. And there's trap women out there too, right?
Trap women.
Yeah, trap
I'm
women.
sure.
But listen, if you ain't down with USR, fuck you!